I want to win, I just wanna win. I wanna crush you till your windpipe caves in. And I wanna be the prettiest person at Earth Cafe. And I hate Tina Fey, I know that's taboo. So if you don't like it, you can fuck you. 'Cause I want her money, her glory, her baby, her dog, and her job. And if one more person tells me I have to watch Modern
Breaking
Family,
Bad.
I am going to buy that gun. I have my eye on. I once loved a boy, he did not love me. In retrospect, I would have to agree. But you can still bet the next one I met, I put through the ringer. Yeah, 'cause that is the world, that's how it works. Every heart's broken and everyone's jerks. And money don't change it, drugs can't erase it, you can't blog it away. And if one more person asks me what I have been working on lately, I don't think I'll ever stop crying.
Hey now, it's your boy PSA Sitch here with everyone's favorite Friended Forever with another Sunday stream. And that music choice was by Adam. How did you like it? If you didn't like it, you can complain to Adam because it was entirely his fault.
That's our battle song right there. We both want to win. We both want to win so badly. And I don't want to watch Breaking Bad, although I did watch Breaking Bad. People are saying that I'm muted in the thing, but I don't know if they're saying that I'm muted because I was singing along. So let me know if I actually am muted. I did watch the first episode of Breaking Bad, and it's super hooky. I watched the first episode. I watched.
It's almost like everyone in the world is right.
I watched the first episode, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do the recap thing. You know how I always brag about how I do the recap? There is no recap in Breaking Bad. I was like, ah.
They did it just to fuck with you. They're like, no, Adam, you have to watch this show.
Well, this is how cynical I am. I actually thought, okay, maybe they actually had a recap when they aired it on television, but then they took the recap out for Netflix just because maybe they caught wind people were doing that, or they noticed people were doing that. And
why would they care if people were doing that?
They want to boost their watch time. That's what they tell the investors. Our watch time is this, our watch time is that. And if people like me go in and totally destroy the watch time thing, it's terrible.
Well, I mean, with Netflix, watch time doesn't matter, does it? It's just subscription retention.
You wouldn't think that. You would not think that. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Why is it not in there? Was it in the season? This is a mystery.
It's been so long. I don't remember watching it on TV.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if there were recaps.
Somebody let
Maybe
us
it's because
know.
Breaking Bad's not some hackney show, okay? It's a real important drama with good thingies, scenes, and filmings, and they're like, no recaps. This isn't a fucking soap opera.
It is a soap opera. It's basically
not
a soap opera. But
how dare you? Everyone in the chat, boo Adam for saying Breaking Bad's a soap opera.
So right after that, I had to call up all my buddies from college and see if I could hook up. I was like, hey.
I finally saw Breaking Bad. You guys want to talk about it?
What's that? No, I didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to get some drugs. I was watching all this drug doing, and I'm like, I want some drugs.
That's the real reason you don't want to watch it. You didn't want to set off your meth addiction.
I'm just joking around. I often wonder though how people. I don't have an addictive personality, so. But I wonder how people with addictive personalities watch these kinds of shows. So I had a friend of mine that was had a super addictive personality, and he could never watch anything like that without just like complaining about how he had to hook up. So
really, I mean, some people are like that with, like, I have that only when you watch these fucking food shows that for some reason girls are obsessed with. They always want to watch food shows, and it's like, no, it just makes me hungry.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, now I'm gonna go in the kitchen and eat everything.
So stop it, ladies. Stop watching food porn.
So I have a couple of things I forgot to ask you before the stream started because we were running late, but we were going to talk about Brett weighed in on our forgiveness argument from last stream. Brett Weinstein did, and I noticed you had changed our "Don't be a Cypher, be a Neo" thing that I wanted to congratulate you on because it was it's the language thing, not to frame things as negatives. So you're very very strong there. Now it's be a Neo, not a Cypher.
Right, yeah. Originally it was don't be a Cypher,
right.
Be a Neo. And we talked about that, about how, it's neurolinguistics. You're not supposed to, the brain cuts out negatives or whatever. I don't know if I believe that, but I changed it just in case, even though it still has a negative in it, because it still says not a Cypher. It's just the second part as opposed to the first part.
Be a Neo strong. So eventually, I was telling him before the stream, eventually our tagline is going to be a Neo or else, you stupid mother.
But the Brett Weinstein thing's important because last stream we talked about, or Adam brought up, I don't remember what the context was, about whether forgiveness was biological or social.
Or cultural, yeah.
Or cultural, yes.
The definition of cultural is just something that's taught. It's not encoded in our genes.
Right. And I said that it's definitely biological. Mm-hmm. And you said it was cultural. And when you asked Brett Weinstein, he said that I'm right.
No,
and you're wrong.
And before the stream, we started fighting about how Brett Weinstein weighed in, and I was right.
Did you see? Brett Weinstein said that he literally said in quotes, PSA Sitch is totally right about everything. Adam is a sidekick forever.
He did not.
Block, ignore, unfollow.
Okay. This is not what Brett Weinstein said. I said something about is forgiveness in the forgive the enemy sense in which is encoded in Christianity. Is it a cultural thing or is it a biology thing? And Brett Weinstein actually said culture is biology. And what he means, if you know Brett Weinstein's work, he means everything in culture serves biology in some way or other, or it dies out. If it's something that's persistent over time, then somehow that cultural adaptation is serving biology. And then I followed up, I said, yes, I understand that some of the behaviors of human beings, like for instance, breathing and heartbeat and all that stuff, is stored physically in the genes. Your genes don't have to interact with any culture for you to know to breathe or for your heart to beat. But behaviors like forgiving outsiders, forgiving the outgroup, it seems like that is something that has to be taught. It seems like the thing that's stored in your genes is get even. Like if someone does you wrong, get even, kill them, get them out of the way, kill their family. Like that's what just intuitively feels like is stored in our genes. I mean, that's pretty much what's stored in animal genes, right? They don't believe in forgiveness. Chimpanzees are, well, I guess chimpanzees. Okay, now I'm totally,
see, you just proved your.
But anyway, no.
I don't have to say anything.
So Brett Weinstein did follow up and said that, and did you see the subsequent follow-up tweet? Because I don't know that you were tagged.
I'm looking at them now, and I'm still sitting on the position that he said I'm right and you're wrong.
Well, obviously you're not. Like this is why I am right about you can't change your mind, because you aren't going to change.
No, he said, okay, wait a minute. Okay, listen, chat. If Adam asks him, he says, is forgiveness in the Christian sense biological or cultural? And then Brett's response is, culture is biological.
Right.
Okay, so to me, that means he's saying that all culture stems from biological processes. Therefore, forgiveness must be a biological, adapted, evolved process.
But you didn't see the subsequent tweet because I asked.
I did see the subsequent tweet.
So
which one?
Look at the subsequent tweet where I asked him for clarification. I said, okay, I understand that I explained what I just explained here, that culture serves biology. But what I'm saying is, where is the behavior stored?
And he said,
right.
Okay, I see it. He says, storing it culturally is itself adaptive. Forgiveness looks very much like such a perimeter.
Yeah. Stored in the culture. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, but does that... Yeah, but...
Yes! Yes!
Wait. So your argument is that it started as a biological process, but then became stored in the culture?
No. Things can be stored in the culture, like how to make a jet airplane is something that's stored in the culture. None of that is stored in our biology.
Right. Yeah, but wait a minute. Wait. You said, okay, you said,
Jesus is the Son of God is not stored in your DNA. Okay, that's stored in the culture.
Right, but wait a minute. My contention was not that forgiveness is stored in the culture. I don't disagree with any of that. My contention was that it still came out of a biological process.
So
That forgiveness is biologically encoded
adapted
somewhere in human DNA.
Yeah, and Brett's saying you're wrong.
He's not saying that.
He is. We'll get him on here, man.
He said no, because you said in response to him saying culture is biological, you said, I agree. I'm really asking where the behavior is stored in our genes or in our culture. Are there behaviors that serve biology but are stored only in the cultural layer,
right,
and therefore at some risk as norms change over time? To which he says, absolutely. If a parameter's value inverts over time or space, storing it culturally is itself adaptive.
Right. So he's saying that forgiveness is stored in the culture.
Which I don't disagree with. My contention is just where it originated, which he didn't actually answer.
Okay. So then we're both right. We get to still be friends. This is great. I love it.
Okay. So we're not both right. We just don't know the answer.
Well, I am comfortable with the answer that I got.
I'm comfortable with interpreting his response to me as meaning I'm correct.
Is that your translation of what I'm saying?
That is my translation.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's okay.
I mean, how could you?
It's more important to be right than nice. Just remember that.
That's right. That's a good point. No, but there's no way to prove that, cavemen biologically adapted forgiveness, I assume.
Well, the process that I see, and everyone hates this stuff, when you put together hypotheticals about evolution. Actually, not everybody hates it. The people that tend to hate it are just the people who don't want to believe, don't want to work out the process. But you could see if there is a two tribes competing and one tribe culturally adopts the principle of forgiveness, that internal cohesion could remain stronger over time against another tribe where they don't adopt that principle. And when those two tribes go to war, I wish I had where's the Frankie Goes Hollywood? When those two tribes go to war, then the one that has a more cohesive group will likely win out over the other group.
Right, but that doesn't... I'm just going to say that chimps probably have forgiveness hard-coded into their DNA, thus that proves that I'm right, and that forgiveness is a biological evolved process.
Yes, but...
Thank you. Good day, sir. Good day, sir.
There are two types of forgiveness, though. There is forgiveness of the in-group, and there's forgiveness of the out-group. And the one that is the most important, and the one that Christianity focuses on, is forgiveness of the out-group, forgiveness of the enemy.
Well, wait a minute. Wait just a second. Doesn't Christianity in all cultures get around that by what they do is they make the out-group a form of the in-group? Christianity says everyone is part of God's children.
Yes. Common humanity, identity, politics. Yeah, that's exactly how.
Okay, but they're not. So you don't really have forgiveness for the out-group. You're just transforming the out-group. You're transforming the out-group into a type of in-group.
You should be an attorney, man. You're good at this stuff. You're totally good at this stuff. Just twisting it all around. I love it.
Just admit that I'm right. It's fine. You can say it. You can say, Sitch, I know you're right about everything.
You
fight it.
No! I'm right.
Okay.
So what do we talk? Do you have any? I think that's the only thing I have on my list to talk about.
Did you have any thoughts about what's the chick's name? Ilhan Omar. Is she anti-Semitic for bringing up AIPAC?
Didn't she just tweet out it's all about the Benjamins?
Yeah, she said, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said. She said something like, she was criticizing some senator or congressman for supporting Israel, and she said it was all about the Benjamins, and then someone was like, oh, really? Who's paying them? And she said AIPAC, and they're like, oh, she said being paid by AIPAC to support Israel. That's anti-Semitic.
Yeah. We have a real problem with people mischaracterizing other people, just painting them in the worst possible light. So that is I mean, the Jewish trope is that they're greedy. If that if that Jewish trope didn't exist, then it would be hard to say that.
Yeah, but it's dumb because everyone except for Ben Shapiro, which I want to bring up briefly in a second, everyone talks about how lobbyists and money influences politicians.
Yes.
So just pointing out that the Israel lobby does the same thing doesn't automatically make you anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, well, how do just because that trope exists, all of a sudden you're not allowed to criticize them for? I mean, it's brilliant. It's kind of along the same lines as P plus P equals R, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, we can't be racist. We have the immunity idol. Like, all of a sudden, you can't talk about Jewish corruption anymore because you're being accused of insulting them for being money changers or whatever. I don't know. Go ahead.
We see that a lot with anything today. Is that if there's any stereotype of any race, any minority class, and if there's an actual individual person engaging in that stereotype, and you call them out, to like, oh well, you're just racist.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I'm sorry, we just can't talk about things that happen anymore.
It's difficult to have any sensible conversation when there's so much distrust on both sides of the debate, which is awful. How do we get past that?
Well, is it distrust, or is it just everyone wants to pwn someone?
Maybe it could be that.
Because I feel like with the Ilhan Omar stuff, is like, yeah, I don't like her either. I think she's a moron. I mean, she says she has intersectional feminist in her fucking Twitter bio, and she's wearing hijabs. So it's like, okay. But
is that a contradiction?
I think it's a huge contradiction. But I mean, wait, do you not think it's a contradiction?
I think on the hijab, I think people are embedded in different communities with different social norms. And I think one of the problems is people are asking people to adopt a social norm of their community when they aren't really a part of their community. So they're literally asking them to do something that would hurt them in the community that they're a part of, as if that's a proper thing to do. I don't think it's a proper thing to do.
Yeah, but isn't it the thing that makes it? I'm not criticizing a person for wearing a hijab. I'm criticizing someone who claims to be an intersectional feminist for wearing a hijab, because you can't argue that any sort of cultural created clothing that's supposed to hide part of the female form that men don't have to participate in. You can't argue that that's not some form of patriarchal enforcement.
Yeah. Well, I don't believe in the patriarchal enforcement anyway. I mean, they would call just standard social norms patriarchal enforcement just to mischaracterize.
Well, whatever. However you would define, women have to wear a headscarf to retain their modesty, but men don't.
First of all, just because she's wearing a hijab doesn't mean she has to wear a hijab, correct?
I'm talking about the culture says she has to.
Right. Yeah, but she could buck the culture if she really wanted to.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying she has to in reality. I'm talking about the culture dictates that a woman has to wear a hijab to retain her modesty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the meme with the lollipop without the wrapper on the floor. It's all dirty, and it's like, do you want to marry this lollipop without the wrapper that's all dirty, or do you want the nice and clean one that's been in the wrapper till she was married?
I never saw that. That's funny. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't. I'm assuming that it's a voluntary act, so I don't want to heap insults on something that is, for all intents and purposes, a voluntary act. For all you know, she saves an hour and a half in the morning because she doesn't have to do her hair. So she's like, yeah, this hijab thing is really working out for me. Like,
I get to use my religion as an excuse.
I know, exactly.
Wash my hair.
Exactly. I'm telling you.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
As more, any guy who loses his hair early in life, I guarantee you they wished we still lived in the English times where guys wore wigs. They'd be like, problem solved. Boom. I got my wig on. I'm still an aristocrat.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What was the disease that they all had that's why they started wearing the wigs?
Oh, I don't know, but I thought the wigs was just a way around male pattern baldness. Because
Mm.
guys, you see guys that just put on a hat for like their entire 30s.
Right. No, there's it started because I think some king or some nobleman, they were all getting some STD that makes your hair fall out.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's my. I could be wrong. Someone can fact check that.
Oh
Chat.
my goodness, that's awesome. They're like, we're still gonna have illicit sex and get the STD, but we'll solve it this way.
Exactly. And I guess the only other big story is the Jussie Smollett. Seems like he faked the hate crime against himself.
Yeah.
I don't know if we really have anything to say except lol.
I've been tweeting up a storm on it just because. Oh, it's so incendiary. It's so incendiary.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he did it, obviously, I would like him to get 3 years just because that's the maximum he can get. I think in all reality, he probably won't. I mean, he'll get parole if anything, because that's just how our society works.
Well, because they say he's a non-violent offender, he's a famous person, you know.
I do think it's hilarious that he's using he's using Trump's attorney's attorney, which he's like, oh, I'd come out so hard against Trump. You know, I criticize Trump. Oh, I'm getting caught here, Trump. Can I get a number for your attorney?
That's what everyone does. Yeah, the attorney knows no political loyalty, or people don't care about political loyalty. They just want the best attorney.
Yeah, that is meritocracy at work right there.
Bam. And it's funny. So I think someone was saying, well, because the staff for Empire said, oh, we didn't plan on writing him out of the show.
But now we have.
Yeah, now they're definitely going to write him out of the show.
So bad.
Got some super chats. Icor TG for $2 says, I'm 16 and I want the right to vote, Adam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
So there you go.
I was actually I was contemplating making a video on that because I saw there was another small YouTuber and I was figuring I could give her a shout out. She put together a really good argument for voting at 16.
Mm-hmm. And
I was going to do a response video to her and say, no, you're wrong. 12.
Danimal Collective 1 for $4.99 says, I can only watch a sidekick like 4 minutes top, but with Sitch here, I'm in for the long haul.
I've engineered it this way. Hey, there's nothing
just
wrong.
Drink it in.
There's nothing wrong with being a sidekick. I'm telling you. Hey, Robin gets to hang out with Batman every day. How cool is that?
That's right.
When Sargon was giving you a bunch of compliments, hey, I'm a bigger Sitch fan than Sargon is. Like totally.
Bastiolo 48 for £2 says Sitch isn't even a real name. # Team Adam. A little bit of pushback. Oh wait, didn't I say I was going to ban Bastiolo 48 from the chat last week?
Bastiolo is my best friend. You can't ban.
LT Amazel for $5 says, Adam, it would have been perfect if you said you're right, but you're part of my in-group, meaning I'm right.
That will definitely go in my pocket for next time.
Okay. Don't give him ideas, guys. Exofrats. Exofrats, who makes some wonderful art of me.
I know. Oh, really?
For 20 DKKs, which I will assume means he's giving me Donkey Kong golden bananas. Sitch is right. Sitch is always right.
Who did the artwork in the video? We should give them a shout out too.
I believe it was Identikit. Let me check real quick.
I'll get the other super chat. Benedict T for $4.99 says, should I write a paper due tonight or listen to a 6-hour live stream? I think you should write your paper while you're listening to the live stream and just stream of consciousness, put it all together and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. You need to pay attention to what you're writing. Come on.
What is the paper on? Maybe we can help. We're late to the party on The Last Jedi, but the interesting thing about this, first of all, I watched this video yesterday and I just was like, oh, banging my head. Like, what is going on here? These people are so in the bubble. It's so just rationalizing their opinion that the world is a gender war between males and females. But I went and saw last night Alita Battle Angel, which, I mean, it has a female protagonist. She's completely badass. I don't want to throw out a bunch of spoilers, but that movie did the gender stuff correctly. Like, I wasn't sitting there thinking, boy, these people hate men. Mm-hmm. But throughout the entire Star Wars movie, I kept feeling like whoever wrote this movie has a strong distaste for men. Like, the ultimate goal of the script seemed to put men in their place.
Well, it's weird because, I mean, it's well, first of all, it's Identikit or Lex the XN on Twitter, who did the Reagan ear Sitch looking thing, and Exofrats did the wonderful Gamergate gif. So thank you, Exofrats, for that. But it's weird because what's the guy's name that directed The Last Jedi?
Rian Johnson, is it?
Yeah, because he had done Looper and Brick before this, and neither of those movies had any negative male
characters.
Anything in them.
Yeah, they both had male protagonists too.
Right. So yeah. I don't know if do you think he was really caught by the gender feminist bug, or do you think it was just a coincidence?
I think Kathleen Kennedy had a huge say in the script. Like, whenever there's these huge $200 million movies, a lot of times they're written by committee. Everyone wants to have their say. Everybody has, and scripts that are written as a political exercise just don't always come out as good. I mean, there are scripts that have a bunch of writers on them that are great. They tend to be comedies. I think, like, the Simpsons movie, I think is phenomenal, and I think there's like 30 writers on it, and even a bunch of uncredited writers, because anyone who writes a joke is like...
Right, but yeah, with comedies, since there's so much of it is just jokes, you're going to need a bunch of writers just to fill those jokes, not necessarily to create the narrative that combines everything together.
Yeah, when you get multiple people creating a narrative, sometimes things go haywire.
Right. But I don't know, because if Kathleen Kennedy or the producers at Disney or Star Wars or whatever had a lot of oversight in The Last Jedi, like, how fucking stupid are they that they would have signed off on 90% of that movie?
Because of the gender stuff? Or
but even without the gender stuff, you think they'd be like, oh no, you can't make Luke Skywalker a homeless loser. Like, that's like, you really think a corporate person would have allowed that?
Have you seen the interview where the guy who plays Luke Skywalker, or Mark Hamill, yeah, where Mark Hamill says, I think this is fundamentally wrong because a Jedi would never give up?
Yes.
It's so right on the money. He's like, what happened? I was a badass, and now you've turned me into this.
But see, that's why I doubt. I mean, I'm assuming Kathleen Kennedy, they had to sign off on the script, and I'm sure she probably looked it up. Maybe all the gender politics stuff, like, it was like the distraction that made her ignore like the terrible aspects of the rest of the script.
Yeah, maybe.
It sucked her in. She was like, yes, strong women.
I've done a couple videos on this movie that were on my Think Club channel, and I found clips of Kathleen Kennedy talking about how cute the little porgs were, and it was such a female moment. She's like giggling with the girl that's interviewing them, and the comments in that video were so hilarious because all the kids were like, cute porg, I want to roast one of those porgs. Like, let's kill those porgs and eat them. That is the male psyche right there. Like,
I mean, yeah, but at work, like, I remember when I was, I don't know, probably 5 years old or whatever, I liked the Return of the Jedi because I liked the little Ewoks. I was like, oh, they're little teddy bears. But they did kill people, so maybe that's why I like that.
A lot of people didn't like the Ewoks, though.
Yeah, when I got older, I would. If I was a teenager when I first saw the Return of the Jedi, I would have been like, oh, this is dumb.
I'm not saying that the porgs are bad. I think there's a place for that in movies. Movies should range the gamut of all human emotion. I'm just saying that for Kathleen Kennedy to do interviews and fixate on how the best part of the movie are these cute little porgs, it tells you something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It says that women shouldn't be in charge of multi-billion dollar movies. That's what you're saying.
The rule of thumb, and I've got 10 years of screenwriting experience. The rule of thumb that I've heard from every screenwriter I've ever worked with is when you write female characters, just write them like males. Like females want to play, like females can compete in male hierarchies, and males don't have a problem with this. So, and I feel like the Alita Battle Angel, the whole time I was watching that movie, I was like, okay, they just wrote this female character as a male.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think you can make. I think that's part of the problem. Like,
well, let me adjust. I'm thinking more in terms of the action genre. Obviously, if there's a like romantic comedy, I don't think you're going to do yourself any favors.
No, but I'm talking about the action genre too.
Okay.
Like, okay, let's look at 2 Quentin Tarantino movies. Okay, Kill Bill.
Right.
I felt like all the women were written very well, and it's an
Kill
action
Bill?
movie. Yeah.
Okay, Kill Bill I have huge problems with because he wrote part of them as male and part of them as female. Spoiler alert on Kill Bill.
That's the duality of human nature, Adam.
No, but
we're all
it's
part male and part female.
Not when you're a mercenary. Seriously, you have to set that part of your life aside.
No, maybe if you're a sexist.
Really? Okay, so you believe in the mercenary that has a family and stuff like that?
Who are you specific in the movie? The only
who's the main character in Kill Bill?
Beatrice, Uma Thurman.
There's a scene in the movie that just rubs me the wrong way immediately when they're fighting. The woman comes over and immediately starts trying to kill her. They're tearing up the house, and then the kids come in, and both women stop as if they can't fight in front of the kids, which just rings completely hollow to me. It reads unbelievable. Like everything.
Okay, but wait a minute. First of all, we don't know if the assassin that Uma Thurman was fighting, I'm assuming she had retired at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she had retired, had a family, and Uma Thurman was trying to retire and have a family when she got put into a coma.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fair to say that they would both have specific feelings towards children and families.
I gotcha.
So fuck you.
They're out of the business.
They're out of the business.
Okay.
And actually, because the one that wasn't out of the business, or was still acting as like a mercenary, was Lucy Liu, sorry, his character, and she didn't have a family.
Right. So if she was in that first scene, she grabs the kid and says, "I'm going to kill the kid if you don't."
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Which is what I thought should have happened immediately.
But that's because you're a heartless bastard.
Yeah, but that's
anyway.
As a mercenary, that is what you get paid to be, a heartless bastard. That is the character.
Mercenary. They weren't mercenaries; they were assassins. It's a little different.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right. But
different.
Yeah, it makes them more heartless.
Okay, it's worse.
But no. But my point was, I look at Kill Bill and I liked the female characters. I thought, despite your criticism, I disagree with. I thought they were all very well written, and they didn't feel like women written as men. They felt like they were women that were strong and were assassins who could kick ass.
Right.
But then he made another movie which is awful called Death Proof.
Really? You didn't like Death Proof?
I fucking hate Death Proof.
I love that movie.
And part of the reason I hate it is because all the quote unquote strong women are just literally men. There's nothing female about the strong women whatsoever. They're just men.
There is one. See, Tarantino knows what's up. You can't argue with Tarantino. He writes them like men. There's one scene in Death Proof that if they edited it out, or at least edited it down, that movie would be flawless. But the scene where they're talking in the beginning in the restaurant is just, I'm like, what the hell is this? It's like goes on for 25 minutes. It's so bad. It's so bad. But Tarantino is so huge, no one can tell Tarantino no.
Right. But anyway, I don't remember how we got off on this tangent.
I heard a rumor that Tarantino is actually working on a new Star Trek script, which I'm like, really?
Ooh.
That could be awesome.
They don't say the N-word in Star Trek. I don't know how he would survive.
What is the N-word for Romulans? I don't know. All the Romulans are running around calling themselves whatever. I don't know.
Our favorite super chatter, Darth Fagit, for $9.99 says, "Is it better to have lived and died than to have never lived at all?"
Lived and died.
Yeah, I guess. And it depends. Yeah, no, we'll stick with lived and died. Fire Everything for £5 says, Rian Johnson made the movie to troll the older and hardcore Star Wars fan nerds. It definitely seems that way.
I thought that's what the prequels were for.
The prequels were unintentional.
Right. Accidental trolling.
George Lucas is just dumb.
Oh.
Or he's not dumb. He's just a bad writer.
Yeah. Yes.
A terrible writer. A god-awful writer.
I've watched the 70-minute Star Wars review more times than I've watched the actual prequels.
Oh, the Plinkett ones?
Yeah, they're so phenomenal.
Yep. So should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, and I want to say it's funny because I wanted to do this video a long time ago. Like when it first came out, I wanted to do it. And then we forgot about it. We were doing some other stuff. And then it was funny because I think it was Shuon had tweeted out full McIntosh. This is a video by John McIntosh, by the way. If you don't know who that is, he used to be Anita Sarkeesian's boyfriend, super ultra hardcore feminist type. But she tweeted out a video, the last video he did, which was about how they make fun of men getting raped in movies.
What?
And she was saying like, oh, this is actually like a good video from John McIntosh. Like, this is baffling. And I watched it like 20 minutes before we did this stream. And I kind of almost wish we had done that video instead, because it's interesting in that he correctly points out that, yes, it's obviously messed up that all these movies, have men getting raped as a punchline or as a joke. But then all the conclusions he comes to are like completely fucked. And it's like the perfect example of how like forcing yourself to look at everything through the feminist lens just completely warps your perspective of the world.
Yeah, maybe we can do it next week.
Maybe we can.
I love doing the movie stuff.
Yeah.
We should just watch Rubber together. By the way.
We're just going to stop talking about politics. We're just going to become movie channels.
Well, so many of these political channels are doing movies anyway, so it's kind of cool to be able to examine. We're going Inception here.
Politics is a dead genre. We're moving on.
The Last Jedi.
How The Last Jedi defies expectations. You're thinking it's going to be great, and it sucks. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Is a movie that's designed to subvert audience expectations.
You see, this is an important moment in the cultural zeitgeist for everyone to realize that just trying to subvert expectations does not mean something is good. Like, that's how you get terrible modern art.
Yeah, subverting expectations can be awful.
Right. Do you think that's a fair assessment of modern art?
I think art has been taken over by activism. I forget the name of it, but there's actually an academic name of it. So now art is no longer judged.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
This is going on in academia. I was going to do a video on it because it's as deep as your P plus P equals R thing. Okay. So no longer is art being judged on aesthetics, but it's being judged on whether or not it moves activism forward, which is a completely different criteria. And if you know that and you watch these movies through that lens, it totally makes sense. It's like we're judging this aesthetically, right? And we're going, wow, this is completely lame. But they don't care about the aesthetics. They're trying to change the world with this movie.
It's like, what was that guy's name? Adam Swerver.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, oh, is it really a big problem if colleges become activist schools instead of, education schools?
I read a couple of articles on it, and they even talked about how even the contest and stuff like that are all geared towards activism. Even like art contests, big art shows are based around, themes like women in politics or things like that. So they're moving the gender equality or equity forward. They want art to play in that role.
Nowhere is this more evident than in the way the film
And, when you talk about subverting expectations, when they had the movie starts, right? I'm trying to remember because it's funny because Adam admitted before the stream that he's never watched this full movie. And I admitted that it took me 3 times. I watched this movie in 3 separate sittings on Netflix because it was so boring that I stopped watching it. And I think the first scene is just this scene of her handing him the lightsaber. And or no, it's not the first scene, but whatever. It's early in the movie, and he throws it over his shoulder. And it is done completely comedically. It's not done like he's disgusted. It's not like a gasping, like tragic moment. It's more like a LOL moment.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
And I mean, you were talking last time, we were talking about how movies they're about believable actions in unbelievable situations. That seemed completely unbelievable to me because that lightsaber, like he did all those movies with him. Isn't that the lightsaber that he like killed his dad with and like?
No, I think no, because that's the green one.
So this is not. I thought the whole movie, the first movie, which I didn't fall asleep during, was her trying to get that lightsaber to Luke.
No, the one she gives him is the blue one that was Anakin's in the originally.
Okay.
That he used in the first 2 movies.
What did that lightsaber mean to him?
Right, it was representation of his father when he was a Jedi.
Right.
Yes, exactly. It's completely ludicrous that he would throw it over his shoulder like that. Like if he really didn't care about it. Here's the thing: if you want to have that scene and it not be funny, you want it to be serious and tragic, then he should have just like looked at it and like dropped it in disgust. He shouldn't have like been like comically throwing it off a cliff.
Or it should have been painful for him to throw it.
Right?
Like
yeah,
something
he
that he
sad.
couldn't. Like the whole prequels were about him and his father. Like he had a relationship with his father that built over 3
the originals?
movies. Yeah, the originals. Anakin was his dad, right?
Yes.
Yes. So you're saying that lightsaber belonged to Anakin, Darth Vader, as we commonly know him.
Before he was Darth Vader.
So just think, some chick walks up to you and gives you your father's lightsaber that you spent 3 movies like discovering your father. You had this, you never knew your father. You finally knew him. You finally had a relationship with him. And then all of a sudden you get this artifact that belonged to your father and, let me just chuck it over my shoulder. Who cares? Like it throws all that emotional, like that's an amazing artifact there.
Yep.
So if he wanted to get rid of it, if you really wanted to get rid of it, it would have been painful to do. Like even if you wanted to get rid of something like that, say you had a terrible, terrible relationship with your father, I would still be like, this means something.
Yeah, especially since his father died in his arms after turning against his evil ways and becoming good again, at least even for just a moment.
Yeah.
It's they should, if they wanted to have him not accept the lightsaber, it should have been like that scene in Lord of the Rings where Bilbo is holding the ring for the last time and it's like he can't drop it, and when he finally does, it's like so heavy when it hits the ground.
Yeah.
Just do that with a lightsaber.
So they threw away all the emotional impact of 3 movies for a joke? Is that your thesis?
That's what it seems like they did.
Yeah, it was totally played comedically. You're right on the money there. So sad.
Handles its 3 male heroes: X-Wing pilot Poe Dameron, renegade stormtrooper Finn, and legendary Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker.
I wanted to do a video, I never got around to it, about the first one of the sequels. I forget what it was called. The Force Awakens. And it's interesting that since Rey was the main character, everyone was like, oh my God, it's a strong female protagonist. It's so good. And they're all ignoring that they made the black guy be like the comedic bumbling sidekick. And I wanted to make a video like white feminism pushing down or like the cost of racism is white feminism. Because it's funny because they always complain that like white feminists will always sell out black people. And like the Force Awakens and this movie is like the perfect fucking example of that.
Wow.
Initially, all 3 characters seem like they should fit neatly into familiar archetypes for men in action-adventure films. In Poe, we expect the hotshot fighter pilot who's celebrated for blowing up the bad guys.
Is it kind of, I don't know if it's dishonest or just stupid to talk about like, oh, we have all these expectations because of these stereotypes. It's like, no, we had these expectations because there was a whole nother movie before this movie where all those characters were set up to be those expectations.
Yeah, Finn had a huge transformation in the movie that I didn't fall asleep for. What was that first movie?
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, yeah.
Much like the title, you were awakened during the movie.
They did a decent job with that movie. They really did. I said decent.
Okay, I'll accept decent.
So did you hate it? I mean, how much better was it than any of the prequels?
Well, okay, wait a minute. Okay, the bar for the prequels is so low. I think that's the only reason why people like The Force Awakens. Because I saw it in theaters and I said, oh, it wasn't the prequels. This is pretty good. And then when I thought about it and saw it again, I'm like, oh, no, it's not. Just my expectations were so low.
Yeah, I didn't see it a second time. And people complained about the whole Mary Sue thing, which I get.
She was totally a Mary Sue. That's like the biggest, I think one of the biggest problems with it.
Yeah.
Her character is boring. All the new characters are boring. I don't care about any of them.
I wonder if it's the fact that feminists don't understand how difficult it is to be a man. So therefore they think when they're just writing a man character, they just think everything is like easy. Like you got you got the male privilege card. So you're just immediately good at everything. So they just write, they're like, oh, we'll write our character strong. They'll just be immediately good at everything.
I think it's because what you were saying, where if you're taught in art, if you're taught that the activism is more important than the art itself, then you don't give a shit about writing a good character. You just write about, writing a character that expresses your ideology. So they don't care that Rey doesn't have to struggle, that she's just good at everything, because that's all they want. They just want strong female women protagonist that little girls supposedly can look up to.
Yeah.
So I feel like little girls aren't looking up to Rey. I don't think anyone looks up to Rey.
No, they want to be princesses. It's in their biology.
That would be an interesting study. I don't know how you do that, to say like, okay, like what fictional character do little girls look up to the most?
Yeah.
I wonder if it'd be funny, because it'd probably be like, maybe like what was the princess from Frozen? Because she was both strong, had superpowers, and was a princess.
Yeah, I think that was Princess Leia's appeal as well, that she was a princess and a badass.
Right.
In Finn, we expect the noble defector who's determined to take down an unjust system.
Avatar is totally overrated.
They perceive what are archetypes as stereotypes, too.
Oh, that's a good point. Are you saying that John McIntosh needs to get some Jordan Peterson in his life?
I don't think he's going to do it.
You don't think he's going to do it?
And in Luke, we expect the wise warrior who wields tremendous power in the name of fighting evil.
See, that's a little offensive.
Case, the Last Jedi...
Hey! That's a little offensive, because it's the experience that we're looking at. The wise warrior is the wise warrior because he's got all this experience.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And also with Luke, it's like you saw him grow up in a way that if you didn't see him for 10 years or 20 years, you'd expect him to be that, because that's the path he was already on. It's not like, again, like he's acting like we just went into this movie like completely blank and blindfolded and just didn't know what to expect. And we were just operating off of cultural norms, which is completely not true.
Yeah.
Doesn't deliver on those expectations, at least not immediately. Instead, director Rian Johnson throws fans a series of curveballs.
It's more like a series of kick in the nuts.
Yeah, it's more like kicking the nuts and under the bus and like on the train tracks.
Over the course of the first act, Finn reveals his self-centered and defeatist attitude. Poe proves that he's...
Wait a minute. Is it... You said defeatist, which is true, but it's not selfish. He was like obsessed with like trying to save Rey. I mean, is that selfish?
Yeah, that's not really selfish.
Yeah. I don't know. He's a little bit of a stretch there, Johnny.
He wants to save his girlfriend.
Not even. She's like totally not into him. She's into emo Kylo Ren.
Yeah, totally. But he wants to save his friend.
See, isn't that sexist? Or not sexist? Isn't that racist? Okay, the black guy is not only the comedic bumbling sidekick, but he gets totally friend zoned by the white girl for the white guy. For the evil white guy.
That is funny.
Come on, Rian Johnson. It's current year. You can't do this anymore.
Reckless and arrogant, and Luke is so consumed by paralyzing guilt that he's renounced.
Wasn't he also upset about the commander being reckless and arrogant? I felt like she was the one that was reckless and arrogant because she had a plan, but she was keeping it from everyone.
Yeah, but that's not reckless because when a woman does something reckless, it's not reckless.
Oh, it's not reckless then. I forgot because it's
wise. It's
in the double X chromosome.
No, the reckless gene is the Y gene.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. But it just doesn't seem like what he was doing was reckless. It seemed like he was trying to save them from the reckless one.
It's
the Jedi.
Go ahead.
It's frustrating because the worst movie or video game experience is the ones where you're watching characters do the dumbest shit possible and you're like, if only they would talk to each other and say words that normal people would say, none of this conflict would happen.
Yeah, collaborate.
And that's literally what this fucking movie is.
You have to collaborate against the enemy. The enemy is the one that you don't know what they're going to do because they're like in other ships and stuff.
Right. Like this isn't a fucking Shakespearean tragedy. Okay. We can like have people have like normal fucking conversations.
That's horror movies are that way all the time. That's one of the things that you hate. You're like, why are they doing the dumbest things imaginable?
Jedi and become a hermit.
I mean, this is kind of like a horror movie for the audience.
It is.
These unexpected character twists are part of the reason why some Star Wars fans left the theater in a state of shock, which rapidly mutated into fits of rage on the internet.
Bunch of whiny man babies upset. I guess we should say before this, I like Star Wars, but I'm not like a huge Star Wars guy or by any means.
What? Un-American. Un-American.
No, I said I like it. I'm just not like a huge Star Wars fan.
I know. I heard you. I heard you the first time.
What about you? Are you some big? I didn't know you were some big Star Wars nerd.
I'm the same. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was the biggest Star Wars fan you could imagine until they just totally rubbed my face in it. The prequels before the prequels came out, I was reading every possible thing I could on the remake of Star Wars. Like everyone was imagining like the best. Oh, it was phenomenal. It could have been phenomenal. And then the prequel came out. I went and saw the prequel with my girlfriend at the time, and she was an even bigger Star Wars fan than me. And the whole time I'm in the theater, I'm like, oh my God.
What is this?
I'm like, what?
What am I watching?
Yeah, I'm like, because I had imagined all of the amazing things that they could have done. Like I just spent months and months and months just imagining how amazing it was going to be. And guess what? None of that happened.
You know what's bad when I don't remember how old I was when the movies came out. I was like 7 or 8 or something. And even at that age, I'm like, this is terrible. And I liked the fucking Mario movie when it came out.
That's funny. Yeah, people complain about that because there's so much politics in it. People want to have it both ways. They want to say, "Oh, it's a movie for kids because it's got all
boring
these
as fuck for kids." Yeah.
But then it's about space politics for 2 hours. Come on, kids don't care about space politics. Kids don't care about Earth politics.
It's interesting because, as you'll see, as we very slowly get through this video, to look at the Last Jedi through this feminist lens doesn't really make sense because if you look at the character of Kylo Ren and Rey and their relationship, she totally fails in regards of turning him. And it turns out that she was catfished and is an idiot for ever trusting him.
Right.
So how does that fit into the feminist lens?
Men are evil. The whole feminist lens is just men are evil. Men are evil. That's the whole feminist lens. Men do it wrong.
Oh, you're right. They can't be redeemed. Not even by a strong Wyman.
They're irredeemable, man. Their idea for gender equality is 100% women.
LT Amazel says for $5 says, I will throw you $20 if you can properly pronounce my name, as well as finally draw you as a furry for rags. Well, I'm conflicted because I want the $20, but I don't know if I want you to draw me as a furry, even if it's for rags. How to pronounce your name correctly? Okay, well, I'm going to say it's either Lieutenant Amazel, or it's L Tamazel, or it's LT Amazel. I'm thinking Lieutenant Amazel. That's going to be my final answer.
Tamazel.
Does that make sense?
It's L Tamazel.
L Tamazel. I said that too. If one of those is correct, you can just give a drawing. We don't need your money. We don't need your money. But please give us money. Lonesome Whip for $6.70 says, to peg my super chats against inflation, I choose the dollar of a Big Mac. Big Macs cost $6.70?
Wow.
Holy shit. I kind of want to look that up. I don't think they cost that much near me, but I haven't been into McDonald's in forever. Sitch, what do you think of the Skylar character in Breaking Bad? Okay. Okay. This is appropriate since we're talking about female characters. I was watching Breaking Bad with my girlfriend at the time.
Who is the Skylar character?
His wife.
Okay, yeah.
We both hated Skylar so much.
Yeah.
Because we're like, well, because you're not there yet, but she becomes so antagonistic towards him and so self-destructive. It's like, oh, it's so infuriating. And it's funny because I think my girlfriend was getting so much more pissed off about her character than I was.
Yeah, she's an antagonist. I've only watched 3 episodes and she's already antagonistic.
Right, but she gets so much worse
really?
as it goes on. And it's funny because like the overwhelming majority of people hated her character. And of course, like, Breaking Bad came out, I don't remember what year, but it was before all that SJW stuff really took off. But even then, people were like, even then she was saying like, oh, they just hate me because I'm a woman. And they don't want to see a woman, getting in the way of the main character doing what he's doing.
That's a strong argument that they have. Well, it's a weak argument that they constantly use. Let's put it that way.
Ethan Long for $5 says, really? The Enterprise crew never time traveled to 1860s America? I don't remember an episode. I don't think they did.
If he was gay, married to a guy, and the guy was just as needling as Skylar, I mean, it would be the same. You'd feel the same about it. It wouldn't matter that.
Yeah, but no, because you'd have the John McIntosh is saying, see, even though it's a man, they effemitized him so much that he's the stereotype of the nagging wife.
Oh, I got you.
So not only is it sexist, but it's homophobic.
So much of the time I feel like it's just licensed for people to be assholes, though, because a lot of times I think, well, it's not that I dislike you because you're black or gay or whatever. I dislike you because you're an asshole. Right?
Right.
I mean, anyone can be an asshole.
Yeah, I don't remember Star Trek ever going back in time to Civil War era, but it would be interesting to see them deal with people saying the N-word. Boofire 191 for $5 says, I've had several professors. I'm a media production major. State media cannot be apolitical because apolitical is a cowardly political stance.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So they're judging art, movies. I mean, it's horrible. Comics, like all media, they're judging through this lens now.
It's crazy. It's so, I mean, obviously some things can be apolitical. Fucking romantic comedy, it's not gonna have much to do with politics. And it's the same thing with like fucking Hank Green saying science can't be apolitical because apolitical means you're in favor of the status quo, which is a fucking crazy way to look at the world.
Yeah, we need to break into the romantic comedy and just start adding action scenes, like do them totally man style. Like they want to take over action movies, we'll take over romantic comedies.
So I found a website that supposedly lists fast food prices by location, and it says near me the Big Mac costs $3.99.
Ooh, that sounds about right.
So, but it says the meal costs $5.99. So maybe the person, maybe Lonesome Whip was talking about the meal.
I love the mini Big Mac, but they don't have it anymore.
Have you ever looked at nutritional facts of the Big Mac? It's so
don't tell me. I don't like knowing the odds.
Oh my god! And it's funny because, like, back when I used to eat garbage fast food, I liked Here's the problem. I like the Big Mac sauce, but the Big Mac itself, it makes you sick. Or it made me sick whenever I eat it.
But if you get the mini one, it's just right. The big one will make you sick, but
I would just ask them to make me a burger with the sauce on it.
okay.
And they charge you like 10 cents or something.
I'll do that.
You should just not eat McDonald's. How about that?
I'll think about
it. No. Taylor Ramirez for $2 says, get Mahler on. Yes. I think I'm pretty sure Mahler's already done a stream on this exact video. But yes, I'm a big Mahler and Rags fan.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I said it.
Hashtag
I finally got a Me Too story.
LT Amazel, Lieutenant Amazel, or L Tamazel, whatever your little, is that a cat? What is the avatar?
Kitty cat.
He's a little kitty cat. Little Lieutenant Amazel kitty cat for $5 says, I'm curious what you think about the documentary Black Noir about Black people's portrayal in horror movies.
Haven't seen it.
Sounds interesting.
But I will watch it.
I did take a class in college for, was it like queer representation in film? And I only took it because a friend of mine was taking it, I think. And I just had this, I was a film major. I was a double major, film psychology. And I had to like fill a film class. And I was like, okay, my friend's taking this, so I'll just take it too. And it wasn't bad. I mean, this was before SJW times, so it wasn't that bad. It was just it was interesting. It was just pointing out how like a lot of movies will have bad guys. A lot of male bad guys are kind of not necessarily gay, but they're kind of like queerish or effeminate. Especially, and they talked about this especially in noir movies. There's a very interesting thing about how it had to do with, like in noir, a lot of times women were the bad were evil or the bad guys because noir represented a time when like men got back from war, so they weren't like used to dealing with women because they'd been on the front lines of war for like so many years. Anyways,
I noticed somebody pointed out something in horror movies that they usually have the character do some kind of moral indiscretion right before they get killed, so the audience is ready for them to be killed.
Right.
Which I haven't really watched a lot of horror movies to assess whether or not this is accurate, but it seemed interesting to me and something I would look for in the future.
Yeah, I've heard that too. But again, I don't like horror movies either. I don't like the horror movies that are just like, oh, there's a monster and everyone gets killed. I like the ones that kind of explain what the thing is and then they fight back and defeat it. I want positive endings. Okay? I'm happy. No Code for $10 says, how much intent goes into crafting narrative in movies? Have you seen Black Pilled's analysis of Falling Down, Pleasantville, or Forrest Gump? Are there infinite interpretations a la postmodernism? I haven't seen any of Black Pilled's analysis, so I don't know. I think for good movies, there's lots of intent that goes into them. And I think for bad movies, there's no intent that goes into them. And that's part of what makes them bad. And that's part of what makes a lot of these artsy-fartsy postmodernist movies terrible. Like the artsy-fartsy independent movies is because there isn't any thought put into them. Their focus is, it's interesting. It seems like their focus is more on aesthetic, not on narrative structure or narrative or the narrative at all. They don't care about the narrative. They don't care about story. They care about the aesthetic feeling it gives off.
Don't you think the intent is still there? It's just misguided. That like their intent is really to put women. They want to make women into strong female characters, and that's the number one intent. And whether or not the movie is entertaining is secondary, and that's kind of the problem.
Well, I'm thinking like, yeah, I guess you're right. We'll go with that.
I mean, intent. It's hard. There's so many aspects, so many stages of making a movie that it seems like it's just brimming with intent.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking, whatever. I'm getting distracted, and I'm gonna move on.
Are you reading the chat?
I was reading the next super chat, so I got
Go
distracted.
ahead, read it out loud.
Lieutenant Amazel for $5 says, correction. The documentary is called Horror Noir. Also, you got it wrong. It's Lieutenant Amazel, like Amazon. I thought that's what I said, Lieutenant Amazel. Do you understand? What's the difference? Lieutenant Amazel, like Amazon.
Amazon.
Oh, Lieutenant Amazol. Look here at Lieutenant Amazol.
As punishment, drawing will be lewd.
Look, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
If you wanted people to pronounce your name, Lieutenant Amazol, okay, you can't put a Z-I. It's got to be like a Z-O or a A-U or something, okay? You got to do it's your fault. You're the one putting the wrong vowels in your damn name.
I think
okay?
As you talk, the drawing is getting lewder and lewder.
Look, as long as I'm on top, it can be as lewd as you want, okay? Orlin or Orlone or Orlon or however you say words now.
Orlin
for £2 says, take it you didn't like Bird Box then. I did not see Bird Box. I didn't watch it because I didn't watch Bird Box for the same reason I didn't watch what's that movie or the Netflix series where all the people like disappear?
4,400.
They get like raptured up or whatever.
I think it's 4,400, but I'm not sure.
Whatever. Is it 4,400? I don't know. There's some Netflix HBO series where like some percentage of the world disappears. I said, I fucking bet you that they're never going to explain what the fuck happened.
Oh no, I hate that.
And so I looked up a spoiler, and they don't explain it because it's based off a book. And I said, okay, I'm not watching this garbage.
No resolution is the worst.
Yes, and I think Bird Box did the same thing.
There's a movie that I love. It's Under the Skin. That's, if you know what's going on in the movie, which is very poorly explained in the movie, it's an amazing movie. I don't know why they couldn't just make it clear, because it's when you know what's going on, it's completely like mind blowing. But
so it's exactly like 2001. If you knew what was going on, it'd be good.
Yeah, exactly. You got to hit the internet beforehand so you know what's going on, and then watch the movie. Right.
Also, doesn't Under the Skin have Scarlett Johansson naked in it?
A bunch.
That's the real reason it's a good movie.
Yeah, that too.
Now, to be clear, we're not talking about people who just happen to dislike The Last Jedi. It is, after all, not a perfect piece of cinema. No, we're talking about the subset of mostly male superfans who felt betrayed and personally disrespected by this movie.
So isn't it...
He's so incendiary.
Isn't it obvious that's like, if you're some big fan of a series, like, okay, perfect example. I was a big fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Korra is fucking terrible. And the thing that makes me dislike it so much is because I was a fan of Avatar. If I wasn't a fan of Avatar, I would have turned it on for 2 seconds, said, this is dumb, turn it off, and I wouldn't have cared anymore.
Yeah.
It's liking something beforehand and then being gut punched and kicking the nuts. That's what makes you angry about it.
Well, you know the characters, and they just abandon, like you said in the beginning, they just abandon all of that character growth. I was a huge fan of Aeon Flux, and when they did the Aeon Flux movie, it's like they ignored the character they'd spent forever crafting.
Right. That happens a lot, though, when they base movies off of cartoons or,
Yeah, they try to make it
comics or animes or anything. Like, has there been a good anime or video game movie yet?
I don't know.
I can't think of any.
I want the live action Fooly Cooly.
Anything else?
The objections from that particular group are wide-ranging.
The two were accompanied by a girl.
But they often involve an obsessive level of scrutiny when it comes to female characters.
What girl?
Going back to since we brought up Mahler, it's funny because like he's embroiled in this whole debate where, he would go through do these very long reviews of the movies, and he'd go through almost every scene and point out all the inconsistencies, plot holes, and all around terribleness of it. And so it's like, yeah, like people are being, looking through Star Wars with a fine-tooth comb to talk about how terrible it is. It's not just the male characters or the female characters. It's everything. They just fucking don't like the movie.
Right.
On the more extreme end of the spectrum, fan complaints have a tendency to devolve into wild conspiracy theories about the Disney Corporation pushing an agenda of forced diversity or feminist propaganda.
That's true.
Well, here's the thing: is it a conspiracy theory when you have writers who worked on like movies and on Star Wars and this movie like tweeting out stuff like, oh, the future is female, Star Wars is about female characters, look, it's about female diverse characters. And I'm pretty sure Kathleen Kennedy has tweeted out shit like that too. Maybe she hasn't, but I know other people that worked on the movie have.
From a business point of view, I understand wanting to cater to both male and female audiences. I just don't know that it's possible. Like as things,
I don't agree with that whatsoever.
You don't agree?
There's tons of movies that both men and women like. Aren't there?
Don't you think? But hold on. Don't you think action movies are kind of aimed at guys and that romantic movies are aimed at girls?
Yes, I will give you that.
Is Star Wars an action movie?
It's action adventure, okay?
Okay, action adventure is normally aimed at males, right? I mean,
I guess you're right.
What is a genre that's aimed at both males and females?
Comedies can be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. I feel like we're doing a little bit too overgeneralization. There's lots of females that like the Marvel movies that have been coming out, and those are all action adventure superhero movies.
Yes, and they do a good job of catering to both demographics through the characters, not the political ideology. Like Guardians of the Galaxy has very male characters and very female characters, and no one's getting upset about that.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good example. I think people just want good characters.
Yeah.
And that appeals to everyone, regardless of your gender.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Captain Marvel.
But there is a common thread running through.
And also it's hypocritical. It's hypocritical because he's like, oh, there's all these Star Wars nerds that are mad because they feel betrayed about Star Wars. Is he going to bring up all the people that are talking about how much they love this movie because it's so feminist, or they perceive it as being so feminist? Because aren't they just the inverse? They don't really like the movie because it's a good movie.
Yeah. When we got out of the prequels, remember I told you I went with my girlfriend who was a hyper Star Wars fan.
Oh, see, your girlfriend proves what you were saying wrong.
But she liked the original movies.
Yeah, but that's not stereotypical for a girl to be a huge Star Wars
nerd. She went dressed as Princess Leia. Okay. the original Princess Leia with the cinnamon buns on her head.
Yes.
So, but after the movie, there was like this weird moment where we all gathered in the lobby and people had to pretend that they actually liked the movie. And I just like kept my mouth shut.
Much of the backlash that speaks to an underlying anxiety, an anxiety rooted in deep-seated insecurities about masculinity.
I have so much insecurity about my masculinity.
Yes, the reason so many angry fans were so angry about Star Wars is not because it ruined the beloved characters they loved. It's because they were insecure about their masculinity.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a stretch there?
Just a little bit of a stretch, a little bit.
Let me briefly explain what I mean by that.
Oh, good.
Leading men in action-adventure movies are expected to be decisive, righteous, respected, and to take charge in most situations. Men are...
That's exactly why they're the archetype.
Exactly, that's a good point. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. We want righteous people and good people and morally just people to do all those things.
Yeah. Especially when they're strong and they could easily go the other way and just subjugate people by force.
Exactly. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Because isn't that usually the villain they're fighting against? It's someone that's just as strong and decisive as them, and as decisive as them, but they use their powers for ill or for their own selfish gains.
That is the difference between the dominance and the prestige. There are prestige hierarchies and dominance hierarchies, and the hero is at the top of the prestige hierarchy, and the villain is at the top of the dominance hierarchy.
Oh, that's like the best way ever to put that.
It is, yeah. They rule by force. They kill their henchmen along the way.
And it's, and I think you've said this before, that the SJW types, they don't understand or perceive the prestige hierarchy. So that's why they look at all these heroes and they see them as simply existing on the dominance hierarchy.
Yeah, they don't understand the difference between those two hierarchies. And if you look at the groups, like if you think of it as, the villain has his henchmen under him and the hero has his sidekicks under him, they all have a very different culture. And that culture is ultimately what leads him down the path of losing, because human life is not sacred to them. They rule completely tyrannically.
Right. And also to go back to Johnny Boy's point, like he's framing it like, yeah, there are a lot more male action hero protagonists than there are female, but female protagonists in action movies fit all the same things that he's talking about.
Yes,
it's not like it's just a male thing.
Yes,
it's just a hero, as you're saying. It's just a hero archetype.
Alita, Battle Angel, she ticks all the boxes, man, and nobody cares. Like even Princess Leia, I think, ticked all the boxes that he just mentioned. Nobody cares.
Yeah, that's a good point. She's decisive.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Because she has a vagina.
Yeah, exactly.
Are expected to achieve success by becoming progressively more and more powerful as the story unfolds.
Oh, see? I forgot that he said that. He's so sucked into the power dominance hierarchy. He doesn't understand anything else.
This expectation is part of a long-running tradition in Hollywood. And the formula is so entrenched in mass media that many...
Entrenched is a word.
Is that becoming a new SJW buzzword or something?
Well, he's saying entrenched as in something that we need to get rid of, something that we need to get out of there.
Fans feel aggressively entitled.
We need to unentrench. We need to unentrench the hero narrative.
Yeah, exactly. What do you replace it with though? That's what I don't understand.
The beta orbiter male strong feminist ally type.
Wasn't the Captain Gender Studies, I don't know her actual name, but wasn't she just ruling tyrannically? Wasn't she at the top of a dominance hierarchy, not a prestige hierarchy?
Who are you talking about?
Captain Gender Studies. Isn't Captain Gender Studies in this movie the Laura Dern?
Oh, Vice Admiral Holdo.
Yeah, she was great in Blue Velvet. I loved her in Blue Velvet. She played a real woman.
You're right. Oh my God! Now that you bring it up, she's the perfect example. Wow. See, she's the perfect example of the villain,
of the bad guy archetype.
Of the bad guy, exactly. Because, presumably in the backstory of her character, she has gone up the ranks through doing good things and is prestigious. But we don't, as the audience, we don't get to see any of that.
Yeah, we never.
So it seems to us it's purely a dominance power play.
Yeah, nobody respects her.
Right.
We noticed that the cues for prestige is like everyone's paying attention to these people to learn from them. She doesn't have any of those prestige cues in the movie.
Right. See, that's why it's important to not force yourself to look at everything through just this narrow lens of saying, okay, I have to look at this movie through this intersectional feminist lens, because you're going to find whatever you want to find.
I think the emotion that drives a lot of this stuff is just resentment. Resentment is toxic.
Right.
You got to get that out of your life.
Now Adam's going to bring up how Christianity solved.
No, I'm not. Hey, I'm an atheist, guys. Just to get it out there. People are starting to think I'm like some secret Jehovah's Witness.
He's a secret. No, you're not a secret Jehovah's Witness. You're a secret Seventh-day Adventist.
Oh my goodness. No.
Or is that Jehovah's? I don't know. Whatever. You're a secret Jew for Jesus.
No, I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist for Jesus.
Atheist for Jesus.
That particular version of manhood reproduced on the big screen. But as The Last Jedi begins, it quickly becomes apparent that this movie isn't interested in catering to a simple vicarious power fantasy.
Wait a minute. Isn't it trying to appeal to a simple vicarious
prestige?
No, isn't it supposed to be like a power fantasy but for girls?
They don't understand. Aren't movies prestige fantasies? I mean, your ultimate goal is to climb the hierarchy through prestige, not through dominance.
Right.
Yeah, that's why you get your skills on, because people respond to skills.
And you do something productive for a society.
But it would be fun to make a movie that was just the bad guy rising to ranks, like, Saddam Hussein is the hero, and he just kills everyone that gets in his way.
Well, that's kind of, it's interesting you say it. That's interesting that you say that, because that's kind of what Breaking Bad is, sort of.
Really? Oh, man.
It's sort of about him rising through the ranks, but, he's selling drugs. It's not like he's a hero.
Do I have to watch more of this?
You have to watch more of this. Dr. Sandwich for $5 says, the last season of Voltron is a bigger disaster than Star Wars The Last Jedi. I watched some YouTuber, I don't remember who it was, talking about how awful it was, but I've never seen Voltron and never had any interest in it, so Voltron. I don't know anything about that. I assume you haven't watched Voltron either, Adam.
I watched Voltron when I was a little kid.
Yeah, the new one, I mean.
No, I haven't seen it, but maybe I'll check it out.
Lieutenant I can't say it now. How do you say it?
Amazonal?
We're going to say Lieutenant Amazonal. Lieutenant Anal Lozano.
Oh my God. Now he's going to unleash on you. Just be sure, to be sure, include me on this drawing. I'll put it up on our next stream.
There is no love truer than one born of hatred, and there is no hate more pure than one born from something you loved. My avatar is semi-related. That is very true.
I have you with the waving hands too.
What?
I added the waving hands to your little avatar in here.
Oh, no, but I mean, that's why people, when they break up with someone, like they have like these terrible divorces. And they like hate someone so much because they used to love them.
Yeah. Contempt is what you look for. If you see contempt in a relationship, if both parties have contempt for one another, usually the relationship doesn't last longer than 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Pragmatic Culture for $20.
Oh my goodness.
God. Breaking the bank. That's right. The rebels have no means or intention of forming a stable government for the galaxy. Not in the Star Wars sequels, do they? The Republic, which they romanticize, was a corrupt bureaucracy that failed to fulfill basic functions, i.e. have a military. Moff Tarkin. It's weird because when you look at the Star Wars prequels, they're so bad that you wonder, they're so bad that the Jedi seem incompetent and the government seems incompetent. And you wonder, like, okay, well, are they incompetent because the writing's terrible, or are they incompetent because George Lucas actually wanted them to appear incompetent?
Yeah. Well, there is, so a character arc is super important in a movie where the character moves from, they have some problem that they're going to fix along the way. And a lot of times beginning screenwriters start just by making them evil people that you'd never really want to associate with, which is kind of a mistake. You want to make their problem something that's relatable, but they're still, that they're nice people. Mm-hmm. The incompetence is not a good look on a beginning character.
That's a very good point. And that's part of what's wrong with The Last Jedi, is that all the main characters are incompetent.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, too. It's not just... And here's why John McIntosh is full of shit. All the main characters in The Last Jedi fail, including Rey. And she's a strong woman, okay? So it has nothing to do with gender.
No one wins. They just want a downer. Wasn't he bragging about wanting a downer ending?
He I don't know, he might have. I remember him saying you want people to not all agree on the ending. No, you want everyone to go out of the theater arguing with each other whether they like it or not.
Really? Come on.
That's ridiculous. I know.
That is ridiculous.
And it's weird because you don't get that interpretation. You don't get that feeling from Looper or Brick.
The third act of
I didn't really like Looper that much, but
I didn't like the resolution of Looper. The third act of the movie is called the resolution for a reason. All the strings should be tied up. There should be no loose ends. A lot of art house movies, they want you to be baffled when you walk out of the theater. And I can't stand it, because the whole hook of a movie is dangling some piece of information in front of somebody that they're watching to like answer, and then you don't answer it. You're like, what?
That's why Battlestar Galactica is the worst television show ever made.
Oh, they did that at the end? They didn't have a good resolution?
Oh my God. You've never seen it?
Well, now I really want to see it.
It's so baffling because it starts off so good,
Oh, that's
like
the worst.
really good. And it asks all these really interesting questions, and then the answer at the end is either not given or it's literal Deus Ex Machina. It's literally because God.
Oh, wow.
So baffling.
Yeah, those movies are so disheartening too, because the whole time you're watching them, you're watching like a 5-star movie, right? And they lose 4 stars in the last 5 minutes of the movie. Right. All of a sudden credits are rolling and you're like, what the hell?
You know, but it's now that we're talking about it, maybe that explains why the ending of Looper was so stupid. Because as the audience, we all expected that, what was the actor's name?
Bruce Willis?
No, the young Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis's face?
we expected that young Bruce Willis in Looper was going to not die, but he was going to live with the woman, and they were going to raise a child. And because that they were both in the child's life, instead of the child being orphaned, he was going to grow up and become a better person, not become evil.
Spoiler alert! Jeez.
Whatever, fuck it. Who cares?
But yeah,
they said how old Looper is.
They set up the amazing ending, and then they're like, nope.
Nope. Yeah, and then they go, no, fuck you. So maybe that was like the hint of Rian Johnson's like, I'm not going to do what you expect.
Yeah, subverting expectations. That's just bad filmmaking. You want to give people you want people to feel something. That's the whole point of movies. It's emotion pictures.
Pragmatic Culture for $2 says, #Empire did nothing wrong. Don't know about that one. Taylor Ramirez for $5 says, it depends on the film, not the genre. Men like Mean Girls. That's true. I liked Mean Girls. Women like Marvel. You have more gender neutral films like Harry Potter or even the original Star Wars.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm assuming you would argue that Harry Potter and the original Star Wars were more geared towards men.
I would argue that Harry Potter is a chick flick, but
really?
Yeah.
You have to explain this to me.
I just don't like it, and I'm the avatar for masculinity, so.
I mean, look, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan either.
Oh, well, then you're making my case.
Describe it as a chick flick.
Whatever. I have no, it's just a gut intuition. I have no.
Oh, okay. Paxton Fairbanks for $10 says, Christmas movies and classic Disney movies, including Disney knockoffs like Quest for Camelot, are the middle ground with movies that I can think of. Something about childhood unites us. Yeah, I guess there's something about kids' movies can go either way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because kids, you know what? It's because gender isn't binary and gender is forced down our throats by the culture. And when you're kids, you're not yet poisoned by the culture, so you can appreciate these gender non-specific movies.
I guess The Incredibles is a good gender non-specific movie because it's like a family movie.
Yeah, I just saw the second one recently. I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, I know. The first one was just amazing.
And I hate to bring it up, but the second one, it felt like it was too much centered around making the wife, Mrs. Incredible, like look how much better she is than she's. It's fine to make her the protagonist because Mr. Incredible is the protagonist in the first one, so having her be the protagonist in the second one is fine. But in the first movie, like when she and the family show up on the island and they save him, it's like the whole family's working together in unison and they're all awesome. In the second movie, it felt like that part never happened, where the family all gets together and they're all awesome together. It felt like she was just carrying the load of the whole movie.
Wow,
she was carrying the load.
That's the feminist dream protagonist, right?
And also the villain in the Incredibles 2 is almost the same villain as the Incredibles 1. It's like, oh, it's another person who's super smart making gadgets.
What if women have not discovered the prestige hierarchy and that their genes are just encoded for the dominance hierarchy? So right now they haven't made the discovery that males have made. We must study this. We must learn the ways of the female force.
Yeah, I feel like it's a 2-hour long conversation. Observer Dude for £5 says, Mark Hamill said Luke should have reunited with Leia in The Force Awakens, and she contacted him through the Force and then tried to save Han in time, but it's too late. That would have been a much better movie. Yeah. Definitely. Christopher Burkill for $7.99 Aussie bucks or Aussie bucks. I really like Alita Battle Angel, and yet I'm an anti SJW man baby who thinks we have to save the West.
Yeah, they did a great job with that movie. They did. They really
I thought
did.
you said you didn't like it.
Alita Battle Angel?
Yeah.
No, I loved it. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. Have you seen the original?
What do you mean there's an original?
It's based off an anime.
Oh, yeah. My wife was saying she was going to watch the anime after we watched the... No, I haven't seen the anime.
Your wife watches anime. Sounds like she's a keeper.
She loves anime. She loves anime. She loves comics. She likes Marvel movies.
It does seem like...
I'm in heaven over here, dude.
It does seem like... I'll say it does seem like a lot of society is becoming less gender specific in terms that I feel like it's more acceptable. It's weird. It's more acceptable for people in general to like nerdy shit and for girls to like nerdy shit. Where it felt like 20 years ago that wasn't really acceptable.
I don't
like,
know it.
When I was in school, you'd see only boys playing Magic the Gathering and like Pokemon cards and all that, and Pokemon in general and all that shit.
Right.
And now you see girls playing Pokemon Go like it's their fucking job.
Isn't it like just one girl and like 20 guys?
Yeah, that's what it used to be.
There's
but I feel like it's changing.
We finally got gender equality in Magic the Gathering.
Equality through nerd shit.
That's funny.
Radio Plastic for $5 says, my 6-year-old mother was the most disappointed by The Last Jedi. I had to explain all the Culture War and SJW reasons why. In her words, they ruined everything.
Well, if you can't even pull the wool over a 60-year-old grandmother's eyes, Ryan Johnson.
Lieutenant Amazonil for $2 says, that's it. We're getting 2 lewds.
Oh, nice.
Nah. See, it was really reverse psychology. I just wanted you to make more lewds. I tricked you. Ethan Long for $5 says, translation, this movie isn't interested in making money. They just took it for granted. Pleasing the majority of audience or being a good film. Yeah, they definitely took it for granted that Star Wars would make $1 bajillion.
Hopefully things are changing though, because the fact that the Han Solo movie didn't do very well means that they might change things a bit.
Yeah, but aren't they getting what's his guy? The guy who did the first one? What's his name? The Star Trek guy?
I'm not sure. He's writing it?
Lost. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know. No.
Whatever. I think they're getting the guy who did The Force Awakens to do the last Star Wars movie. So I don't have a lot of hope that it will be good.
Okay. Ryan Johnson?
Oh my God. This is killing me. J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah.
Contrast for $5 Aussie bucks says, there's a video of Jordan Peterson talking about Breaking Bad. Checkmate, Adam. Now you have to watch it.
Yeah, I guess I do. Or at least have to watch the Jordan Peterson video.
Is your girlfriend equipped, Sitch? Is it? I don't get that. What does that mean? Is your girlfriend equipped? Oh, is your GF equipped? Is my Guardian Force equipped? Yes, Contrast. My Guardian Force is equipped. And I fought the giant dog and I leached all the triple or whatever the fuck he gives you. No, it was a giant T-Rex. Orlin for £2 says, Wall-E is the most genderless robots. Mostly genderless robots. That's not true. Wall-E is totally male. And
Eva.
the other robot's totally female.
Yeah, Eva's female. You can tell.
Yeah, I didn't agree with... Yeah, her name's even Eve. I don't agree with that, Orlin. I don't agree with that whatsoever. Dexter Morgan, let's talk about another show. Okay, there's another perfect example. I loved the first 2 seasons of Dexter, and then it became so terrible after that I hated it. You said you never watched Dexter, right?
No, I never watch TV. I really don't. Not a real TV fan.
Dexter Morgan, killing it for £10, says, Do you guys remember Christopher Hitchens explaining why most women aren't funny? I think this is why these feminazi remakes like Ghostbusters and Ocean 7 flop. They can't replicate humor. I do remember hearing him a long time ago talking about that.
Yes.
I don't know if I agree with it, but I remember it.
I think women can be funny.
Yeah, I think anyone can be funny, but I think I think you can make the argument that there's it's more evolutionarily advantageous for men to have been funny all throughout human history. So maybe they're a little bit better at it genetically. Maybe
More
not better,
genetic
is the right
encoding.
word. Maybe they have a better incentive to be funny.
Yeah. Scott Adams, well, someone take a drink. Scott Adams says 30% of people have no sense of humor, which I think I agree with, because I'm always bumping into those people and I'm baffled by them. Like, no, that was a joke. You don't understand how jokes work?
That's funny.
I tried to make you laugh. Oh, it's not funny? Oh, okay.
Hobo Frodo for $5 says, most of the women pro Magic players are censorious trannies that they give screen time for diversity. Even the women are men. I think that when you have any sort of highly competitive game or event or whatever, that you're going to see more men than women rising to the top, because men are obviously more designed to be more competitive than women.
Yeah.
I don't think that's sexist to say, but I do think if you look at the competitive people, there still seems like there's a lot more girls playing Overwatch and first person shooters than there used to be.
Men are more competitive than women. It has to do with the survival and reproduction. We're just hardwired to be more competitive. The Scrabble thing where most women play Scrabble, like the non-competitive free time type Scrabble is mostly played by men, but in competitive, or mostly played by women, and in competitive Scrabble it's all men.
I think so in competitive Scrabble it's mostly men, but in non-competitive Scrabble it's mostly women.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
The game of Scrabble appeals more widely to women, but they don't play competitively.
Well, there's an important thing to point out there. Who the fuck's playing competitive Scrabble?
Men. They want to rise. They want to rise up in some prestige hierarchy, right?
That's the worst prestige hierarchy to try to rise up in competitive Scrabble.
This is one of the awesome things about the West, because in third world countries they're not playing competitive Scrabble. The fact that we have all these different hierarchies that you can climb and gain some status as a Scrabble player is kind of amazing.
I don't think there's much status behind the
really
country's best Scrabble player.
Have you seen that movie, The King of Kong? The guy who's like the King Donkey Kong player?
I know what it is, but I never watched it because I don't give a shit about who's the best at this fucking old arcade game from 1980.
You would think that guy was Bruce Lee, man. He acts like he's like. Don't crap on the Scrabble hierarchy.
Ethan Long for $10 says, differentiating between prestige hierarchies and dominance hierarchies will only get you so far. Truly resentful people, those that hate the successful, perceive prestige as a tool to dominate others.
Yeah, they do. Resentment.
Right.
Ugh. It's terrible.
Okay, let's get back to this. We've only gone 3 minutes in so far.
All 3 male heroes are presented as vulnerable in their fallibility, with each displaying their own set of rather significant character flaws and inadequacies.
So, while he's going on and on about how all the male characters have all these flaws, how come none of the female characters have flaws?
Yeah, females aren't fallible.
I mean, that's the complaint against Rey, is that she's a Mary Sue, because she doesn't have any fucking flaws and everyone loves her.
Yep.
See, it's interesting. It's almost like Rey is the Liam Neeson in Taken action hero that just kicks ass and you don't really need to know why they kick ass.
Mm-hmm.
But she exists in a movie where that character doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because she's not like Liam Neeson's old and has like 60 years of experience of kicking ass.
Well, but I mean, even beyond that, it's like Taken isn't a character movie. It's just the whole movie is just about Liam Neeson kicking ass.
Yeah.
Star Wars isn't a movie that's about the main character just going through a gauntlet of baddies and killing them.
Yes.
Star Wars is not Hardcore Henry. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I love that movie. That movie was great.
Yeah.
Now, flawed heroes, in and of themselves, aren't all that unusual in speculative fiction. In fact, failure, and then learning to overcome that failure, is just the standard recipe for structuring a basic character arc. I'd argue the intense fan hate surrounding The Last Jedi has a lot more to do with the fact that the male heroes in this movie are directly challenged on their failures by women.
That's so evil. Hey, you fucked up. Needle, 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 needle.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I was like, was that a sigh? That was awesome.
A painful sigh.
This is not something that's supposed to happen to space cowboys or space wizards in Hollywood blockbusters.
It's so fucking baffling. If all the female characters in this movie were men, okay, so if Rey was a man, if Leia was a man, if Vice Admiral Holdo was a man, everyone would still fucking hate this movie.
Yeah, totally.
It literally has nothing to do with it. They would have said, why is Luke a fucking pussy bitch who went against his entire character? Why is the evil male Vice Admiral Holdo such a fucking moron that he's not going to tell Poe what's going on?
Yep.
Why is Rey, R-A-Y, why is Rey such a fucking Mary Sue? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're doing weird things. But it's almost like they just don't comprehend that it's what they're doing. It's not their gender.
Right, because they elevate identity as the most important thing above what a person is actually doing.
Yeah.
Women aren't supposed to interfere with a man's heroic journey.
That's what people were saying about Skylar. And that's what the actress, I forget what her name is, that played Skylar was saying about why people hated her in Breaking Bad. They're like, oh, because she's interfering with, the main character was a male.
His heroic journey.
So let's dig a little deeper into the unexpected ways that men are held accountable for their behavior in each of the movie's 3 intersecting storylines. As many critics noted when The Last Jedi first hit theaters, the theme of women challenging male bravado is most evident in the character arc of Poe Dameron. Poe...
It's funny... Yeah, it's funny that they, like, all the words he's using, it's all just male bravado. It's like winning is male bravado. It's like doing the right thing is male bravado.
Being strong and decisive, male bravado.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be weak and indecisive. That's what really wins wars.
Well, because he's a total male beta feminist. So he looks at everything that makes a strong man and thinks it's wrong, it's bad. Mm-hmm. Because it can lead to the dark side. Therefore, you should just do away with it.
They don't want to bring balance to the Force, do they?
Exactly.
They want the Force to be woman.
And the only male character that has any sort of bravado is Poe. I mean, Finn is by no means a male bravado stereotype, even in the first one. And Luke was never a male bravado stereotype.
No,
ever.
not at all.
So, I mean, Luke should be kind of heralded as like a great neutral hero character, because he's not like, you don't think of Luke as being super masculine at all.
And not only that, I mean, Han Solo was the bravado character.
Right.
And they constantly made fun of his bravado and him getting it wrong. They used it as comic relief.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, no one was saying like bravado isn't unchallenged in the original movies. Leia challenged his bravado at every turn.
Yes, but then eventually she fell for him. So
yeah, because women like bravado. Why do you?
It proves that women really want the male bravado in the end of the day.
They do. Well, it's a pattern of behavior. Do you disagree? I mean, it's a pattern of behavior that is just high risk versus conservative. Like men are have a more risky strategy, and just the law of averages. Sometimes those risks aren't going to pay off, but when they pay off big. That's our entire reproductive strategy, by the way.
Right. And I remember I had a psych teacher complaining that opposites attract is not true. Mm-hmm. But I think she was kind of misconceptualizing it, because it's true that like when you get a partner, you want someone who has similar interests than you do, that you have, and you want similar goals, but you rarely see people who have the same personality types get in a relationship, because then they clash.
Yeah.
You need people that have kind of complementary or opposite personality types.
Yeah, two type A's drive each other crazy.
Right, exactly.
He is a hotshot fighter pilot. He's impulsive, he's arrogant.
Which is why Princess Leia and Han Solo didn't stay together. They're both type A's.
Yeah.
Engage now, Commander. That is an order.
And he cares more about being a big damn hero than he does about effective strategy or even the lives of his compatriots.
So that's really revealing to... Maybe it's really revealing. I don't want to strawman him or read too much into this, but being a hero means that you're willing to sacrifice yourself for the greater good and for your compatriots. So he's saying, oh, he wants to be the hero over what's more important for everyone else, but then it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, this is one of the things that bothered me a lot about the movie, was that they just didn't have any concept of military culture or chain of command or any of that stuff. Like I couldn't see that guy like not taking orders and challenging command. Like that's just so against military culture.
But also, and it doesn't, which I agree with is totally true.
But don't you think she's like, they're writing the character as if that is just how men are, even though men comprise most of the military, where they're all about taking orders?
I don't know. That's a good point. That's a great point. But I don't know. I'm not convinced that Rian Johnson was making this specifically with the feminist critique in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem forced on Poe's character that he would disregard what Leia was saying. But then on top of that, here's the problem. That and this really shows that Rian Johnson fucked up the writing, because it doesn't... Poe, in this instance, in the beginning of the movie, Leia says, oh, don't attack the dreadnought. Just come back to the ship and we're going to hyperspeed away. If they had done that, if they had listened to Leia, who Leia didn't realize that the Empire could track them through hyperspace, they all would have died, because when they would have come out of hyperspace, the dreadnought would have just killed everyone. So Poe disregarding his orders saved everyone's life. So how did
that's awesome.
So that's what the writing is so bad, because it's not even like they're not even trying to show that Poe fucked up, because he didn't really fuck up.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
Come on, Rian, get your shit together.
The gung-ho rebel pilot is a familiar archetype in Star Wars media, and as a result, we think we know how it's going to play out. Audiences expect the good guys to bring down the enemy death.
It's kind of, I realize that maybe part of the problem is that Poe is kind of like, he's not really supposed to be the loyal soldier. He's not even supposed to, he's supposed to be like the Han Solo, like rogue character.
Right.
Which maybe doesn't make sense if they're like supposed to be in the military following orders.
Yeah, that's why I was going to say they did it right with Han Solo, because Han Solo was like he was the floater. He was never part of the military chain of command. So he wasn't going to wind up in the brig. But didn't they set up Poe as a military officer? And
yes.
Yeah. So him disobeying orders just says to me, this guy's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But they set up their military leaders like they're even more dangerous, because like they're not even like they're not going to give you the orders ahead of time. They're going to keep like spoon feed you the orders as they go. Like,
right.
Come on. What happened to the scene where we all sit together and do the plan together? We all know our part.
Machine in a giant.
Well, that's that's why the feminist shit is so stupid with this movie, is that you could have all the female characters being right and all the male characters being wrong, and it could still be a good movie if everything's written well and everything makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, you could complain that it's SJW, but it could still be well crafted. And that's the problem with this movie, is that everything's so poorly crafted, nothing makes any fucking sense.
If you want Poe to be the Han Solo character, make him a smuggler, give him his own ship, give him permission to belay orders. Like, make him the wild card character, not turn some character into the wild card character within the military structure.
Right. And even if you want Poe to be wrong, then you have to show that his actions actually were wrong. You have to not be like, oh, it's a good thing he disobeyed orders and saved everyone's lives.
Yeah.
Ball of fire. And we expect to revel in the joyful spectacle of impossible explosions in outer space.
Direct hit! Dreadnought down!
So how does this feminist critique work when it came to Vice Admiral Holdo using her, kamikazing herself into the Star Destroyer, into the most, spectacled explosion of all time in Star Wars? And everyone went, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, if Poe does it, it's terrible. But if she does it, it's great.
If she kamikazes herself, it's bad. Or no, it's great. But if he does it, whatever.
But instead of framing Poe's daring raid on the Dreadnought as cause for celebration, the movie suddenly pulls the rug out from under us.
You're demoted.
Whoa, wait, we took down a Dreadnought.
At what cost? There are things that you cannot solve by jumping in an X-Wing and blowing something up. I need you to learn that.
Okay. Here's the problem.
You're in gender studies class. That line was written in a gender studies class.
You're right. You're right. Maybe you're completely right. Here's the problem with this. As I said, first of all, it doesn't make any sense because Poe ends up being right.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of undercuts everything. But more importantly than that, the theme of the film is not that violence doesn't solve everything. That's not the theme of the film or Star Wars whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you can't just put these little things into a movie and not have it like connect to the overall theme.
Yeah, theme is the toughest thing to write. It really is.
Like, what is the theme of The Last Jedi?
I'm not sure what it is. How do you? I was going to ask how you conceptualize theme, because I have a very specific way of conceptualizing theme.
Like, what's the narrative? What's like the overall thing the movie is trying to tell you?
Yeah, I think of movies as a debate over a big idea, and that there are good points and bad points for that big idea, and that's what's expressed in the theme. Like you expressed a good theme, like is violence ever justified would be like a theme. And there are tons of ways that you could debate that theme throughout the movie, and the movie is kind of the debate over that theme. And what you're saying here is this: I don't even really know what the theme of this movie is, but I don't have the confidence that the writers are good enough to maintain one theme. It seems like all they're doing is trying to write cool scenes and daisy chaining them together in a, like, what can we do here that will subvert expectations? I know. Luke will drink from a giant alien tit.
Like, the only theme I can piece together from Last Jedi is that it seems like you have all the characters kind of running off half-cocked, doing things that end up in failure.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the theme is plan more. I don't know, to calm the fuck down. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good Star Wars theme.
Don't spurg out.
Don't spurg out.
Poe is rebuked for his apparent victory, and by extension, the audience is rebuked for enjoying the fireworks.
Did you feel rebuked when you watched the movie? You felt, oh, I felt that slap on my cheek as a man.
I was thinking, why? I mean, it just seems complete. The slap seemed not military culture to me at all.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like, it seemed like a girlfriend slap. Like, you cheated on me. Smack. Like, in the military, there are things that they can do to you in the military that are much worse than getting slapped across the face. And also, you would never, the person is still part of your team. You would never disrespect them in front of other officers like that.
Well, I don't know about that. You would, because I'm thinking like, okay, if this happened in Star Trek, you would have had, say you had Janeway instead of Leia, she would have called him out in front of everyone and like reprimanded him like really harshly. Sure. And everyone would have like looked on silently and have been like, oh, fuck.
Right. But she wouldn't have slapped him across the face.
Military thing to do.
She wouldn't have slapped him across the face though, right?
No, definitely not.
Janeway wouldn't have brought the smack out.
No.
Spit your gum out, Poe.
No girlfriend slapping.
Those explosions that we were taking such pleasure in just moments ago are abruptly reframed as cause for self-reflection and sadness. and we find ourselves suddenly confronted with a narrative about consequences.
See, I didn't get any of this when I was watching the movie. I just felt like, why would you create the worst star? Why would someone in the Star Wars universe create the worst bombers of all time that have to slowly, with no shields, fly over a target and drop bombs that for some reason in space go straight down?
That's because women focus on people and men focus on things. You're like thinking about the bomb. You're supposed to be like, oh, Tico.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
For some Star Wars fans, it must have felt as if Princess Leia had just reached out of the movie screen and personally slapped them across the face. Now, it's noteworthy that blowing up the space fascist death ray isn't framed as morally wrong. Instead, we're asked to consider the tactical and human cost of that violence.
This is, again, a big problem with the movies, that Rian Johnson can totally explore a theme like that, because that could be an interesting theme of, when do you fight against evil and at what cost is it worth it? Like, that's an interesting thing to make a movie about.
Sure.
But the problem is that you can't contrive everything around that.
Yes.
You can't have these stupid fucking slow bombers that are like never been in Star Wars, don't make any fucking sense. Like, it felt like so many things in this movie were just inserted in there to service the plot.
Yeah, that's the most horrible screenwriting ever.
Right. That screenwriting don't do 101.
Yeah.
Especially when it's an established universe that already has all these rules and shit.
It's like Days Ex Machina all the way through. It's
Right.
like, hey, we need something here. Oh, just write it, make it up.
If ever a beloved leader is incapacitated, we expect our brash hero to suddenly find themselves in command. But that doesn't happen either.
The chain of command is clear as to who should take her place. Vice Admiral Holdo of the cruiser Ninka.
A character no one knows and has never seen before in their entire
bad.
life.
That's bad too. All the characters are supposed to be set up in the first act.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And I think it might have been Mahler or someone else was talking about, like, they should have just made Admiral Akbar in charge, because he was a character that people knew. There was a meme about him. Everyone liked him as like kind of like this fan favorite side character.
Yeah. We could have
But
learned.
no, you have to give it to Laura Dern, who why did they dress her like that?
Because so she's a gender studies professor.
That's, again, that goes back to what you're saying about it seems so not like a military. You have the
yeah.
fucking vice admiral, okay? So she's a big shot military leader and she's dressed in a fucking prom dress or something.
Yeah, you get up at 4:30 in the morning, but she actually has to get up at like 2:30 because she's got 2 hours of hair and makeup before she can actually board the bridge.
I have to go command the troops. Fetch me my best gown.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness.
Vice Admiral Holdo.
Like literally every other character, male or female, in the shot is wearing like a fucking military uniform.
Yeah.
Except for her. Like, it's weird too, because if they wanted to have her look like that, why didn't they just make her like a diplomat or like the vice president of the rebellion, or not a military person?
Where are all her medals for saving people in battle and stuff? Seriously.
They kept pulling her dress down, so she had to take them off.
Anyone who cares more about their hair color than their medals when they actually saved people in combat or got shot or were captured, they got big problems.
Though, is even less sympathetic to Poe's attitude.
See, the other woman, she's wearing a fucking military outfit. Look at the people behind her. They're all wearing fucking drab military outfits.
Look at also her posture is completely wrong. Look at how
Dude,
she walks up with
then
her,
General-
like making herself as small as possible.
My
I'm
God,
just
you're right.
little meek me. Like the general walks up, he's like legs spread because he's got a package so big he can barely walk. He's like
Arms behind his back like Patton. He's like coming up there.
Exactly. This is like, oh, I'm in charge here, I think.
Do you think that was intentional?
It's bad directing.
Unless they're trying to subvert, power,
Subvert
gender
your
expectations or
expectation.
something.
Yeah, I guess we're the ones playing into the stereotype, but Or the archetype.
Yeah, but here's the problem: is that body language. I don't think it's fair to say body language is a stereotype. Because it kind of is, but also it's because that.
Well, it's only how we evolved to send messages to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. What message is she sending right here to you? I mean, I'm getting it loud and clear.
She's sending the message like is the new boss who's the new CEO of your paper company, and she doesn't want you, she wants you to know that she's, in charge, but still down to earth and friendly, and you can talk to her.
Why she got her hands folded?
Leia.
I've dealt with plenty of trigger-happy flyboys like you. You're impulsive, dangerous, and the last thing we need right now.
She harshly chastises Poe for his recklessness and rightly dismisses his antics as a liability to their mission.
Even though he ends up saving all their lives.
Yeah.
And she knew that at this point, because this is after they tracked them through hyperspace.
No, thank you. No, nothing.
And there's an interesting gender thing going on there too, because if she was a male and was like the male vice admiral in charge, would she chastise him in that same kind of like sarcastic, biting way?
Maybe not. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's an interesting gender dynamic.
Yeah, the whole pulling him aside thing. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Do you still think like? I think if she was written like a man, it would be better. I honestly do.
I think you can totally make strong, in charge female characters that aren't written like men. Like perfect Captain Janeway in Star Trek, perfect example. She's a strong female character, but you never feel like she's a strong female character. You feel like, oh, she's just a captain who happens to be female.
Yes, exactly. What was the line she just said? I've dated lots of Yahoo men like you.
Did she say that?
No,
she didn't say that.
I'm misremembering it.
I think
I'm remembering it through my toxic masculinity lens.
Yes, you're imprinting your toxic masculinity onto the movie.
Where are her medals? That's all I'm asking myself the whole time the scene is going on. I'm like, where are her medals?
Medals of valor.
Do they not understand how authority works?
She has all these like hairpins that are actually medals.
Oh my. Soldiers look at those medals because they think, okay, well, this guy's a badass. Look, he did this, this, and this. Those medals aren't just decoration. They actually mean something.
The rank and you see the rank there too, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing. You see a fucking prom dress.
Yeah, maybe she's going to the prom. She's going to the Star Wars after party.
Look, maybe we're being mean, okay? Like in the beginning of this movie, everyone was running away from the military base. Maybe she was wearing her pajamas.
Oh, she's in her jammies.
She didn't have time to put her military issue uniform on before she evacuated the planet.
Wouldn't that be great if Poe said, oh, I'm sorry you're here in your jams. I know you barely got away alive. You're in your negligee.
It's at the heart of why so many angry fans tend to hate Vice Admiral Holdo's character so much.
That's what you got? That's what you brought us?
No, okay.
What was that look she gave? Come on.
People hate, as I said earlier, people fucking despise movies and video games and storylines which function where everyone fucks up because people aren't communicating to each other properly.
Yes.
And the entire conflict of this fucking movie is literally just people not talking to each other. If she had simply told Poe her dumb plan, the entire subplot of Finn and Rose going to Casino World would have not happened.
Because it wouldn't have been necessary.
It would have not been necessary. And the plan would have worked because the only reason the plan doesn't work is because they do go to Casino Planet and they get the fucking they get the actor whose name I can't remember who sells them out to the Empire. So that's why people fucking hate her character. Because if she just fucking told Poe her plan, the conflict of the movie would not have happened.
Well, she couldn't tell because it's just bad script writing. She had to keep it from him. Otherwise, the movie can't take place.
Exactly.
But it's also just, it's bad character because what is the motivation for not telling him the plan other than just to try to put him in his place, which is just, how is that not toxic masculinity?
That's a great point.
Like, I'm just going to keep this from you
to
I'm just going to keep this from you to put you in your place. Like, I'm going to risk all of our lives just so I can prove a point to you.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm going to pull rank on you in a very toxic masculine way.
Yeah.
Take that, Johnny.
Even though no one knows what your rank is because you're in your jams.
Get this man off my bridge.
Poe Dameron's story.
I mean, I agree that Poe Dameron, like, acting like a spoiled child and kicking stuff around is pretty ridiculous.
Do you know how long the argument was with see, actors live in the real world. A lot of times they'll complain to the director. They'll be like, I don't know. I don't think my character would throw a 2-year-old tantrum here. It really seems out of character to me.
Yep.
That is what breeds bad acting all the way. When the director is like, no, you have to throw a tantrum like you're 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to do it because they're like, this doesn't seem natural at all.
Well, I guess that goes to Mark Hamill's credit because even though he thought his character in the movie was completely retarded and backwards, he did a good job, like, acting wise.
Really? Yeah, that's good. He really suckled that tit.
He really got the milk and enjoyed it. Oh, poor Mark Hamill. I feel so bad for him.
I do too.
All these years, he's like, finally, I get to come back as the wise Jedi Master, no longer the student. And then Rian Johnson just fucking pees all over his face.
The world changed around him, though. I mean, so much of it is this gender stuff.
Right.
Is that of a cocky head?
Though I don't think... I think the Luke stuff had nothing to do with gender. I think it was purely Rian Johnson just wanting to subvert expectations.
Oh, okay.
Because it didn't feel like... Well, I mean, I don't know about you. It didn't feel like there was some gender dynamic between him and Rey.
Well, I was asleep through those scenes, so...
Okay.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Okay. Strong, never tell me the odds style male hero who is repeatedly reprimanded.
You have bet the survival of the Resistance on bad odds and put us all at risk?
Which I wouldn't have done if you would have told me the fucking plan, but,
yeah.
Until he finally learns to listen to and trust women in positions of power.
Tyrannical leaders in positions of power. You got to trust them.
That's right. The theme of the movie, the moral of the movie is trust your military leaders even when they pull rank on you, act like toxic masculine assholes, and don't tell you shit. Just follow your orders blindly because it's a woman.
Yep.
As episode 8 begins, Finn is a man.
And also here's part of the bullshit too. We never see a scene of like Poe taking orders from a man and being like, "Yes, sir," and then when he takes orders from a woman, he's like, "I don't believe women." Like,
oh my god, that would be amazing.
Like, all this gender's perspective lens is all totally from the audience. Like the characters in the movie and in the Star Wars universe, I don't think we've ever seen the Star Wars universe. There's never been like a sexist dynamic at all.
This movie's so ripe for a parody. Can you imagine she walks in and Poe's like looking around like, female boss. We know what's going to go on here. We know this isn't going to go well.
Obsessed. He wants nothing more than to find his friend Rey and then get as far away from the war as he possibly can. Finn's intentions are selfish and driven by a lack of faith.
It's selfish to want to go save your friend's life, and you think that if she comes back to you in your current situation, she's going to die?
He's leaving to save Rey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not selfish at all. He's risking his... Is he in the military? I think... No, he's in the Resistance military, right?
No. He was a stormtrooper who ran away from being a stormtrooper, but he never joined the rebels.
So they got no take over him. I mean, he can leave. He's free to go, right?
He should be.
Oh, okay. So the woman just stopped him from going.
I mean, I don't remember The Force Awakens. I don't think he ever...
Oh, he was going to steal a pod. That was the thing. Like he was stealing property, so...
Well, he had the little transponder that Rey had that she would come back to. So he was worried that she would come back to that ship and die because he thought they were all going to die.
Oh, okay.
So that's not selfish.
No, not at all.
And since when are feminists against having faith? Like most of the intersectional SJW feminists are totally against faith and religion and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Convinced that the fight against the First Order is a lost cause.
Sorry, but this fleet is doomed, and if my friend comes back to it, she's doomed too.
Enter Rose Tycho, a low-ranking maintenance worker who's a fan of Finn's exploits from The Force Awakens.
Gotta get back to what I was doing, so...
Which doesn't really make sense. Like, what did he do in The Force Awakens? He ran away from being a stormtrooper, and then he went down to the planet with Han Solo, and they turned the shield off.
Mm-hmm.
That's all anyone ever knows. And then he got his ass kicked by Kylo Ren. Like,
right.
Why would anyone be like, oh, he's a hero?
Yeah, he's a deserter. Bumbling deserter loser.
When she realizes he's not really the committed resistance hero that she's heard stories about, her disappointment is palpable. Rose takes on the role of Finn's guide and mentor.
Come on.
Look, this whole place is beautiful. I mean, come on. Why'd you hate it so much?
Look closer.
She's the one who pulled...
Also, isn't it bad, putting aside the gender stuff, isn't it bad to have a character that people supposedly have an emotional connection with already, because there's already been a previous movie, be in another movie where a character of the same age and presumably of experience level is like, oh no, you're wrong about everything, and let me tell you why I'm right and you're wrong.
Right. You're
that we have no emotional, we have no emotional attachment to Rose at this point.
Right, because she's brand new.
Exactly.
Pulls back the curtain to expose the oppression festering just below the surface of the galaxy.
Who do you think these people are? There's only one business in the galaxy that'll get you this rich.
War.
That line always pissed me off. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure people can make shit tons of money in all sorts of ways.
Yeah, it is a tired storyline.
Yeah.
Unlike Leia and Holdo, Rose holds no formal position of power, but she does speak from a position of moral authority.
I wish I could put my fist through this whole lousy, beautiful town.
She articulates the political and moral reasons why the resistance is necessary. And in doing so, she inspires Finn to finally identify as a rebel.
You are always scum. Rebel scum.
How does the evil Brianna of Tarth stormtrooper fit in with the feminist agenda?
I'm not sure. She's the badass in the silver stormtrooper outfit, right?
Yeah, who's not even really that bad of an ass, but she's supposed to be. Like, what does that mean? What does that say about feminism when Finn has to defeat a woman to find his place?
Oh, it's not good. He should bow down. He's like, come on.
And it's her role as moral compass to both Finn and to the audience that's responsible for a good portion of the rage directed at Rose's character from the more toxic side of Star Wars fans.
Okay, so I like how, like, the rebels are in a chase where they're gonna die any minute. Okay, whenever they run out of fuel, they got like a few hours left before they run out of fuel, and so Finn and Rose are supposed to go to this place to find a guy that's supposed to help them, and the fucking Rebel Alliance survive. And Rose says, no, we can do that later. Let's dick around with animals and kids on this stupid fucking casino planet instead of doing the thing that's supposed to save the fucking rebellion.
Right. She doesn't care about her friends. She cares about the aminals. She's like, oh, we were supposed to get fuel. Well, we'll do that later.
We're supposed to, they're supposed to get a code cracker or something.
Oh, okay.
That was the part you fell asleep for.
No, I fell asleep through most of this. And they're on a gambling planet, right? It's like an avatar for Las Vegas.
Right.
And then she's saying, what's the way to make the most money in the world? It's not gambling. Like where all this money came from, right? No, it's war.
Right.
I think you can make more money from gambling than war, but just to guess.
What's more selfish? Finn saying he has to leave to save his friend's life, or Rose saying, hey, how about we don't worry about all our friends and the entire rebellion getting destroyed to save some animals?
Yeah, to save some other people.
But she has the moral authority, so it's okay.
That is kind of a leftist perspective, though. There's one survey that Jonathan Haidt did where they asked people if they cared for their families or the world, and evidently liberals said they cared more about the world than their own families, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I find it hard to believe, though, that that's true.
Yeah, you had said that, but this is the cinema expression of that idea, because she's basically sacrificing her family. Her family's like, come on, you got to come save us. And she's like, no, I'm going to save the world instead. I need to save the animals and the children.
Even though it's her family that's supposed to be the ones to fight the Empire and save the world.
Okay.
It's like doubly bad. You're a hack, Rian Johnson. You're a hack.
Fandom.
Also, those are like the worst outfits in all of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's all fashion designing.
Don't they look like the stormtroopers from Spaceballs?
Oh, they do. They do.
Many of these guys can't help but
oh my god, he's got the giant chin strap and everything.
Oh man.
Ugh.
They should have headgear there and some braces. That would really add some.
You a woman who is serving as teacher to a male hero as anything other than preachy, annoying, or emasculating.
Are you kidding me?
I will agree that she was annoying and preachy and stupid.
Right.
But emasculating? No one thinks of Finn as like a masculine character. He's already super emasculated.
Well, how hard did she fight to not have that hairdo? Like,
It's true, it is a terrible hairdo.
You know, she rebelled against it. There's pictures of her online, and she's not bad looking, but
really,
Rian Johnson must have been saying, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make you as ugly as humanly possible. Okay, we don't want any kids getting a boner over you. Okay, that would be terrible for the feminist agenda. So
that's another thing that I feel like he doesn't address, is that people, maybe it's not a sexist thing. It's an ugliness thing. People are far more likely to identify with and like attractive people.
Yes. Yeah.
And they look at Rose and they say,
You don't think attractive females enjoy being attractive? Like, I think they do.
The fact that Rose also happens to be played by an actress of color only magnifies their anger.
Oh my God. As someone who thinks Lucy Liu is completely hot, it's the woman of color thing. Nah, that's fine.
Well, see, the Asians are like the Jews in that it's total bullshit. Like, there'll be people of color when they're getting hate, but if they take the anti-SJW side, it's like, oh wow, Asians are like basically white people.
Yeah, they are. Schrodinger's minority.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good picture. I want. That's a good picture. Schrodinger's minority with the Asians.
The other reason for the backlash against Rose is because she interrupts Finn's big heroic sacrifice. During the film's final battle, Finn embarks on a self-destructive charge. His heart is finally in the right place, but his judgment is clouded by his eagerness to act on his newfound convictions. As the movie makes clear, Finn's suicide attack is doomed to fail.
Does the movie make that clear?
No, that's a complete and utter lie.
Okay.
Like, people are saying while he's flying, like, oh, you're going to die. But it looked like he was going to succeed until she stops him.
Right.
So that's just completely bullshit.
Is it a fight over who's going to save everyone?
No, like there's a giant laser that's going to knock down the door to where the rebels are, and Finn is going to fly his ship into the laser and blow it up.
Right.
And then at the last second, Rose knocks his ship away with her ship.
Yeah. And does she save everyone, or does the laser
no one saves anyone. They blow up the door and everyone gets and then the rebels have to run away.
Oh my goodness. That's so bad.
How fucking stupid it is.
So she basically sacrificed everyone for this one dude.
Yes. See, that's what's so infuriating. That's what got everyone so pissed off. They're like, fucking Rose stops Finn from saving everyone just because she wants to save him for selfish reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she, A, likes him, and B, because she has an emotional complex because her sister sacrificed herself in the beginning of the movie to save everyone. So she's like, I'm not going to let that happen again. She's selfish.
She's the avatar for selfishness.
Poe tells him so.
No! Pull her off! What? The cannon is charged! It's a suicide run!
Rose tells him so.
See, even in dialogue, he doesn't say you're not going to succeed. He says it's a suicide run.
He says you're going to make it, but we're going to lose you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what a suicide run is.
Yep.
Lake, don't do this!
No! I won't let them win!
And we see Finn's rickety airspeeder falling apart around
He's totally
him.
milking it.
But Finn is so...
He's like, it's the rickety airspeeder. You're supposed to focus on the rickety airspeeder. They don't come out and make it explicit, but I'm making it explicit here for you.
Exactly.
Just so I can make my half-ass argument. Sorry, McIntosh, but I'm not buying it. I think he would have totally saved everyone.
He would have totally saved everyone.
And he would have come back as like Force Ghost. It would have been awesome. You totally ruined it.
Come back. He doesn't have force powers.
Yeah, but come on, it's a movie. They just write that stuff in there.
Star Wars is racist, okay? We don't have enough black Jedi.
We could have Rey go down into the Force and rescue him, and he could come back as a Force Ghost. We can do it. Come on.
God.
Come on.
That's so stupid sounding. I bet they would have done that.
It would have been better than this. At least you'd have the joy of him actually like making a sacrifice for him. I mean, that's what's amazing about movies is when people make the sacrifice. That's called the ironic ending, when they win but lose.
Isn't that what's called being a hero?
Yeah. Yeah. You can make an argument that any time somebody says something is evil or good, evil just means selfish and good means selfless. Yeah, I heard that one recently and I'm still trying it out, but it makes a lot of sense that really we're just geared towards selfish people don't cooperate. Selfless people do cooperate. Like he's fully cooperating here. The one who's not cooperating is Tico.
Right.
Yeah, fall in line, Tico.
Evolution primes us for communism.
Not only that, when you're in the military, he was a stormtrooper, the ultimate like pawn, the ultimate sacrifice. Like they train those guys to be grunts.
Right. Disposable people.
Yeah, disposable people. Sad. But he's dying for the greater good, so it's not sad.
Well, no, he's attempting to die for the greater good. He's about to get his shit wrecked by a minority woman, apparently.
Not only that, she's like a mechanic, right? I mean, why is she?
Right. Wait a minute. Maybe this movie's horribly racist. Maybe she didn't mean to stop him from sacrificing himself. It's just because Rian Johnson is playing off the stereotype that Asian women can't drive. Rian Johnson is just a horrible racist.
I think so too. We need to do our video essay with really monotone talking all the way through.
Monotone NPR beta male talking.
Oh, you did that really good.
This is
so focused on striking.
No. This is Adam and Sitch Friended on NPR. Here we're going to talk about why we need feminism in our lives.
Feminism will save the world.
Oh, we should really do that. We should do like a video like that.
The First Order that he can't see how ineffective this strategy is.
You don't know that.
Understanding that his action amounts to a noble but senseless sacrifice.
Senseless?
Rose steps.
Yeah, this is never explained in the movie. This is just John McIntosh talking out his ass.
Why is it senseless if he saves everyone? Like, how is that senseless? That's quite the opposite of senseless.
Yeah, if there was a line that said like, oh, your ship won't do enough damage to the laser to stop it.
Yes.
But even then he would say, it doesn't matter, I have to try.
Here is senseless, okay? He drives the thing in. It doesn't stop the laser. It makes it more powerful. The laser shoots and kills all his friends. Now that's senseless, right?
Right.
But we don't know that it's senseless.
John McIntosh does.
Yeah, update. Come on, citation needed.
Didn't you know that when you believe feminism, it gives you foresight into the future?
Feminism.
It's like feminism is like force powers. It lets you see the future.
Feminism is senseless.
Steps in to save Finn from himself.
Also, wouldn't you think that crashing your speeder at high speeds into another person in front of a giant laser would probably kill both of you?
Yeah, it'd be dangerous. That's what I was thinking. Hope you guys had your seatbelts on.
They're also like right on top of the enemy line. Like, how are they supposed to get back to the base?
Yeah.
No one knows.
Well, good thing we cut away.
Sacrifice is part of a long tradition in media, wherein death is framed as a way for men to prove their bravery, their convictions, their love, and even their manhood.
Isn't that a good thing?
No, that's total bullshit. He missed the most important one, to prove their selflessness.
Right.
That's the most important one.
Right. To protect, and also, yeah, to protect your family. That's total evolutionary drive.
Yeah, it's totally selfless. What he did there is completely selfless. It's called taking one for the team.
Well, you could argue it's actually selfish because the evolutionary drive that fuels it is probably about protecting your offspring so that they can pass your genes along.
Right, and there's also the fact that you can pass prestige down to your kids.
Exactly.
Everyone
so
remembers those kids. Take care of those kids. He's the guy that saved us from the aliens. Take care of those kids. Yeah. Oh, Tico, what? She's the one that ruined everything. Send her out of the tribe. Away with you.
Could you imagine that, like, you have the scene of Independence Day where he's about to destroy the aliens and then Tico crashes into the jet?
Exactly.
She's like, no, not like this.
And then the aliens destroy the city and everyone dies. Yeah, no, great ending.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
And movies tend to romanticize images of men going out in a blaze of glory.
I mean, is he saying it's bad, or is he just saying because it subverts expectations?
He's not feeling any of the emotions anyone else is feeling there. Like, the idea of self-sacrifice is something that we all hope that we would have the ability to do. It's not. It's a difficult thing to do.
Right.
But
exactly.
He's turning that into male bravado. He's turning that into toxic masculinity. I'm like, sorry. Sorry I killed myself so all of you could live.
Son of a bitch did it!
Even when their sacrifice is sent.
Poor Leo. There's room, Leo. Get on the thing.
Senseless, ineffective, or unnecessary.
We're looking at, what is this, Titanic? He's showing a scene from Titanic. I realize sometimes people just listen to these, so. Leo's dying in the water so Kate Winslet can live.
Right, like, it's so stupid because people, is like a joke. We're saying like, oh, he probably could have fit on there, like,
yeah,
with
I know.
But like, obviously within the narrative of the story, it's supposed to be like, no, like only one person could fit on the thing, so one of them has to die. So to call a joke means that the scene is senseless is completely ridiculous on McIntosh's part.
Yeah. Self-sacrifice. That's how you pull at the heartstrings. That's the key.
Yeah, but that's just self-sacrifice is just toxic masculinity, okay?
See, that's so, the fact that they don't understand that makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
Well, it's very telling.
It is telling. My working thesis is that they do not perceive prestige. Like, they live in a world where they think people get power just because it's nepotism. Like, they don't understand that people worked for it. This even goes into the fact that they create all these Mary Sue characters because they don't understand the fact that you have to accumulate this knowledge and become prestigious over time.
Right.
They think it's just bestowed upon you.
Because that's how they view the current power structure. They don't view people as working to become top of the dominance hierarchy or prestige hierarchy. They just think, oh, you're just on the top because you're a white male.
Yeah, or because you were born with money and money just changes everything. Yeah, they don't understand that. So they can't articulate it in cinematic format.
This notion that death, and violent death in particular, is redemptive or restorative for men is so deeply ingrained in media that many angry fans are adamant that Finn's misguided kamikaze attack would have succeeded.
They agree with us.
Because there's nothing in the movie that says it wouldn't have fucking succeeded. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
See, it's funny because it's almost like John McIntosh is almost making the MGTOW MRA argument about, men being disposable people.
Yeah.
Which they are a lot of times in these situations.
That's kind of a superpower, though, to be honest with you.
To be disposable?
Well, to sacrifice yourself for the good of the team, or I mean, that's a tough thing to do. We all, as apes, we all want to be selfish.
Exactly, and that's why it makes you a hero on top of the prestige hierarchy, because you did a difficult thing.
And it is redemptive. It is totally redemptive, which he mentions, but
no, fuck you. It's toxic masculinity.
Well, he's saying that the redemptive power of it is somehow in the violence, not in the fact that you saved your clan.
He's trying to not even address any of that by just claiming that it wouldn't have worked, so that it was pointless.
Right.
Even though the movie doesn't make that clear whatsoever.
I just see that they came out with this piece of feminist propaganda that no one was buying, and he's just spinning as hard as he can to sell it. Right. He's like, you got to love this movie because it teaches the women to be strong women.
But it doesn't. It doesn't,
no.
This movie doesn't teach the women to be strong. It just teaches the men to shut the fuck up and listen to women.
Yeah, even when they're wrong.
Even when they're wrong.
Yeah.
Despite the film explicitly telling us otherwise, these fans are incensed that a woman got the big damn hero moment.
She didn't get the hero moment.
Oh my God. It's so baffling because, again, it's like the movie doesn't tell us that his suicide plan isn't going to work. On top of that, she crashes his ship into them, which could have easily killed both of them. On top of that, they're now stranded 2 feet from the enemy lines.
Yeah, and the laser still opens the doors.
And the laser's fucking firing.
How did she, this is the craziest hero moment I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you didn't see that, and it gets even worse because she literally pulls him in for a kiss, and in the background, you see the door exploding. Like, that's what makes it so baffling, is that it literally feels like Rian Johnson is just like flicking people off and trying to troll everyone. It's so fucking weird.
Oh my God. It's like we're going to die together, so everything's okay. Everyone's going to die with us. It'll be awesome. Suicide Pack. This movie should be called Suicide Pack. It's
literally like a scene from a Leslie Nielsen Naked Gun movie. Or like where Leslie Nielsen's like, I saved everyone, and he starts kissing the girl, and then you see like this explosion in the background. It's fucked up.
Oh my God.
And she got it, in their view, by robbing a male hero of his chance at martyrdom.
Literally not a single person who saw that scene and said, what the fuck, was thinking that in their mind. They thought, why did she just kill everyone and doom them?
Yeah, they're baffled by her behavior. They're like, I don't understand what happened. Where was this girl raised?
Do you think that McIntosh actually believes this, or he's just full of shit?
Man, I don't know what these people believe, to be honest with you. I mean, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I like to think they're sincere in their beliefs. Like, he really believes this twisted nonsense.
He really believes that everyone got mad at the scene because they realized that Finn's sacrifice was pointless and that she was robbing him of his man glory. I mean, like, how fucked do you have to be to think that? To think that that's, like, why people were mad about this?
Why? I mean, the way to do the scene correctly would be just Tico is going to ram into the thing. Like, Tico runs out for her pod, and she's going to ram it into the laser. And what's his name?
Finn.
Finn goes after her, right? Like
right.
maybe he's gonna try to get in front of her and do it first, or tell her to break off. Like there's a fight between who's gonna do it. Now that would be good. Like who could get there first? What's
the
that?
male.
But then if she got in front of him though and crashed in there, then it would be great. She would be the hero. She would have stole his glory, exactly like he's pitching it.
And that would have subverted expectations.
Yes.
Because
It
you would
would
have
have
been
totally.
like, well, actually, no, it wouldn't have, because you would have been like, oh, there's no way they're going to kill Finn off.
So
what kill off this no one gives a shit character from this movie.
Oh, and then the feminists would have jumped in. Oh, yeah, she's just disposable. Feminists are disposable. That's what you're saying. These people can't win. That's why they just can't win.
Yeah. That's why, don't even bother playing the game, because you can't win.
Yeah.
You stop me!
I saved you.
You see that? She's like, I saved you. And you see the lasers blowing up the fucking door.
I know. She should have said, I saved you. Everyone's dying because I saved you.
I guess we should get through some super chats. Matt Magnum for $5 says, as a novelist, it's hard to watch Star Wars without seeing my generation. Will either save writing or kill it. Generation Z, buy my book. Matt Magnum for another $2 says, if you're curious of my book, it's a multi-dimensional epic.
Nice. That's what we need. We need more multi-dimensional epics.
Monkey Chips for $2 says, gotta go, guys. Have a good show. Adam is best sidekick.
That's right. I was raised sidekick material.
There you go. Adam is the Mary Sue of sidekicks.
I just inherited it.
The Critters Buggin' for 2.79 Canadian says, if most Star Wars movies are bad, maybe it's all bad. Bum, bum, bum. That's true. We've reached a point where there are more bad Star Wars movies than there are good ones.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Isn't that depressing?
I actually liked one of them that other people didn't like. It was the prequel one that was made recently. God, I don't even know the names of them.
Oh, the Death Star plans one?
Yeah, with the plans. Yeah, that one I actually liked a lot.
Really? I thought it was so boring.
Oh, really?
I was like on my phone. I watched it on Netflix and I just like started going on Twitter. I was like, this movie's so fucking boring.
Maybe that's just your social media addiction.
No, I don't usually do that.
I saw it in the movie theater, so I couldn't text.
Orlin for £2 says, in the Alliance, where are the aliens? Yeah, this movie's specious. There's only like 2 aliens running around.
Aliens
Wait a minute.
Part.
Wait a minute. Leia gives they give command to some random pink-haired lady in a prom dress over Admiral Akbar because he's an alien?
Yeah.
My God.
He's at the very top of the progressive stack.
Matt Magnum for another $2 says, the them is listen and believe. The theme, maybe it's the theme is listen and believe.
Oh, that's a good theme. Yeah, definitely.
That was the theme of Last Jedi, listen and believe. Exploding printing at work for $2 says, the theme is if you kill your enemies, they win.
Okay.
Matt Magnum for $2 says, maybe if I give $2 more, we will get red. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. Sorry, Matt. Noel Campbell for $2 says, at this point, the mission is just to run out of gas. That's what it seemed like when they're dicking around on the casino planet. Impact Players for $5 says, this movie did subvert my expectations. I expected a Star Wars movie, and I damn sure didn't get one.
You got Twilight instead.
You got... I don't even know what you got. You got shit. You just got shit on your face. But at least the shit was shaped like a Star Wars logo, so it's not all bad.
They have so much money invested in these movies that they really have to spend them. They have every incentive to spend them.
Right. Well, I mean, the effects were good. I don't think anyone complained about the visual effects.
I wish they would give us numbers on ticket sales by gender, but I guess they don't really take those.
Yeah, they don't. They're not going to have that data.
They do. Google knows everything.
I mean, when you buy tickets, who the fuck you? Because most people don't buy a ticket for themselves; they buy a ticket for a group of people.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way to figure that out.
Yeah.
You horrible.
AI would know.
Critters bugging for 13.99 Canadian says reboots are all shit. Nostalgia is driving this product. We want the feeling we had as kids, but no reboot can actually deliver. No reboot could ever be made that will invoke the feeling from childhood. How sad and true.
They have to get a nostalgia director on the movie. That's what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they need someone that just focuses on the nostalgia. They're like, this is what people want to see. We got to get into that movie. Like they had the Millennium Falcon in the first one.
Yeah, but the first one they did it too. It has to be kind of like subvert, like can't be so overt like the way they did in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first one or the first new one, it just felt like literally the original Star Wars movie again, and that's why everyone didn't like it.
Yeah, I thought everyone didn't like it because Rey was such a Mary Sue, but
well, I guess that's a good point. That's true. Maybe you know what the worst reboot was? Reboot. What? The reboot of Reboot was terrible.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Chad Fitzgerald for 250 says Sitch is flat justice. I don't know what you're referencing. I don't remember what you're referencing at the time period. It's true. I'm against flats. I want my justice to be very curvaceous.
He likes thick.
I like thick, large justice. Matt Magna for $2 says Space Vegas is my home planet. Go Space Knights. EP for $10 says SJW, your stated criticism of this female character is not the real reason for your criticism. It's because you hate women.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. That's what he's really trying to do.
Yeah.
You don't like strong female characters.
Yep.
This is why I brought up the Battle Angel, Alita Battle Angel, because she's a strong female character and she's great. Are you kidding me? She's awesome. Totally awesome. Ripley's a strong female character. What's that?
She's got weird big anime eyes, though.
Yeah, that was cool. That was so cool. Are you going to see that movie? It's totally amazing. The robots were just off the hook.
I'll see it when it's on Netflix.
It's a transhumanist movie all the way too, which I super dig. Takes place 300 years in the future. It's amazing, man.
So it's got Adam's seal of approval. Everyone go see Space Battle Angel, whatever.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
I'm not going to see it. Inferno Chill for $4.99. Maybe not up your alley, but hoping you guys might tackle it. American Krogan just uploaded an hour-long video disagreeing with Jordan Peterson on the Jewish question.
Oh my goodness. Well, we could cover the Jewish question just because Sitch has the
I have the authority.
The immunity idol when it comes to the Jewish question. He officially has the Jew IQ.
So. That's true. I don't know who. Do you know who American Krogan is? I've never heard of this guy.
I don't know. Yeah.
So, we'll look at it. I don't know what his argument is, if he's alt-right or what, but we'll find out. YouTuber Explorer for $1.99. Thank you for exploring us, YouTuber Explorer, for $1.99. Hallucinate for $5 says, men are raised to sacrifice themselves for the tribe. Feminists are mad that they don't have the prestige, but aren't willing to sacrifice themselves.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a biological component. If women, I mean, the whole idea, and this is so against the feminist narrative, is that the women don't have sacrificing themselves for the tribe is not a good move because they got to take care of the children. Who's going to take care of the children?
A woman will sacrifice herself directly for her child, but not for the tribe.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe that's why McIntosh doesn't get it. He's so, because it's a completely masculine idea to sacrifice yourself for the tribe.
Maybe, perhaps so.
And he's demasculized himself beyond that.
He's not going to sacrifice himself. Although, isn't he kind of sacrificing himself for the feminist tribe?
Yeah, but maybe it's a ploy. The male feminists trying to weasel themselves into a different kind of prestige hierarchy.
Right.
Look, I'm just a good ally. Date me.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of pushback on your last video?
No.
Okay.
Why did you think I would?
No. I thought it was great.
Jan Morgan for 5 Canadian says, since others are shilling books too, you can check out my Living Amongst the Dead series. Realistic gunplay, survivalism, and a feminist has a bad time.
Nice.
There you go.
I'd like to see it just to see if feminists have a bad time. Don't they always have a bad time? When does a feminist have a good time?
That's a good point. That's like their default setting.
Yeah. That's the archetype.
Well, it's true because feminism couldn't exist if they're having a good time, because then you would say there's no need to be a feminist.
I want to do an all-female Clockwork Orange where I examine female toxic femininity.
Oh my god! In a dystopian future where women rule the streets, running rape gangs.
Yeah, exactly.
Ethan Miller for $5 says, I've made my girlfriend watch the original trilogy since they were a huge part of my childhood. The new movies are so bad, I would rather her watch the prequels. The prequels, it's interesting because the prequels have like kind of the funny meme potential now, but they're just so boring. Like, like even though I hate the new Star Wars, they're not anywhere near as boring as the prequels.
That love story. Ooh. Ooh. Netflix needs a speed up option where you can watch it at 1.5. They do. They do.
You know that's going to be a thing like 10 years from now.
I wish it was a thing today, to be honest with you.
There's going to be all these articles saying, look how impatient our generation is that we need a fucking speed up feature on Netflix.
Yeah, and all the filmmakers are going to be saying, oh, the pacing is all wrong. Like, you could watch movies. If you watch old movies are generally good. They're just super slow. Like, if you could watch old movies on 2x speed, they'd be a lot better.
Yeah, or if you could just edit out all the super long pauses.
Right, yeah. Staring out the window.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I just watched Inherit the Wind again because I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
But have you seen it?
No. Is it black and white?
It's black and white. It's about the Scopes monkey trial.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah, with the Gene Kelly is like the asshole newspaper guy.
Yeah.
It's great, but it's really good, but it has that pacing issue.
Yeah. That we were on old-timey pacing back then. That was just this cultural norm.
Well, also, I think they viewed film as more like film was kind of viewed as more like, oh, you're just filming a play and putting it on the screen.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, now people are like, no. We're not doing that. Exploding Pretty at Work for $5 says, this YouTuber has no idea what it is to be a man. He needs to read Captain Harlock and watch JoJo. Poe did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. Anita Sarkeesian's ex-boyfriend has no idea what it's like to be a man.
Poe did do something wrong, though. He didn't hide the keys from Tico. Keep her from getting in that speeder. I want the scene where she's running around looking for the keys. I can't find them anywhere. And then Finn saves everyone.
Finn saves everyone. Yeah, but if Finn saved everyone, then Rey couldn't have saved everyone.
Oh, okay.
So they had to have Finn fail at saving everyone because they needed Rey to do it. See, that's the true thing.
Is
Finn
that the titty thing?
Had faith that a strong, independent woman who doesn't need no man would have come back and saved everyone in time, so he didn't need to sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
When Rey finally meets her hero, the legendary Jedi Knight isn't at all what she expected.
Oh my God.
Luke Skywalker has become a cynical old hermit. A man so...
How does he dribble it all over his face? It just, like... This guy's supposed to be a swashbuckler, and he can't even get the milk out of a sippy cup. Like, I don't get it.
Maybe that was Mark Hamill, like, I'm gonna do the worst take possible, just so that they can't use it. And Rian's like, I love it.
I know. That's so funny.
So consumed by fear and guilt.
Imagine how fucking bananas you have to be Rian Johnson to be like, I want to spend money having a concept artist creating a character with udders, and then having the animatronic guys create this stupid fucking robot just to have one scene that has nothing to fucking do with anything, where Luke fucking milks an alien.
Yeah.
It's fucking baffling that anyone thought that was a good idea.
It had to be Kathleen Kennedy's idea. It had to be one of those, the hill she's going to die on.
She was like, no, you're putting in the Luke milking scene. That's my favorite part of the movie, next to the porgs.
Well, didn't they? The symbolism seems intentional to me. Like,
what is the symbolism of him looking at the space now?
He's drinking from the feminist tit, is he not? I mean,
he's drinking the green tainted milk from the feminist tit.
Well, I would say that the green is intentional because it's nutrient rich from Mother Earth.
Oh, no, wait a minute. It's super subversive. He's drinking money.
That's good.
We figured it out, folks. We figured out the milking scene. It's actually a super subversive fuck you to feminism.
He's like, here's your money shot right here. I want it on your face.
Yes. Oh, we figured it out. Oh, we're so good at this game.
He's like, but I don't think as a Jedi, I would not be able to drink correctly out of a sippy cup. He's like, nah, I want it all over your face.
I want it all over your face. You're going to bukkake this green money all over your face, Luke. You sold out because you're an old Jedi.
Yeah.
Fucking sell out, yeah. Sell out to the feminist teat.
He probably wrote in the check that he got, he probably wrote check to Mark Hamill and wrote sell out in the comment section. Yeah. We own you.
Yes.
That he's turned his back on the Resistance and closed himself off to the Force. Needless to say, this comes as a tremendous shock, both to Rey and to the audience.
Go away.
Like Rey, many Star Wars fans were expecting Luke to appear as a triumphant badass, the one they remember, or rather misremember, from the original trilogy.
Oh my god.
Misremember?
Misremember? That's so evil. This guy is evil. Why is he so evil, Sitch?
What I don't even like. What is he trying to reference? What are we misremembering about Luke being a badass?
Well, the whole trilogy is his character arc from being a schoolboy to a badass.
Right, a whiny loser schoolboy to a Jedi warrior.
Yeah, that's called character arc, character building. Like, what happened? That's why when you bump into this hermit character, you're like, oh, I guess Luke was in a car accident or something. Like, he's been in a coma for 20 years. What happened here?
He was in a car accident, so how dare you?
Was he?
Yeah, that's why they had in the beginning of the second movie, like where Mark Hamill gets attacked by the cave monster and they fuck his face up. It's because he was in a car accident.
Oh, really? Oh,
and realized his face got messed up.
I forgot about that.
You're so not sensitive. Oh my god.
It's been 100 years. I don't remember this stuff.
The thing is, Luke was never really depicted as a great Jedi warrior.
Han, can you reach my lightsaber? Yeah, sure.
You know that one scene where he gets trapped in a net?
Yep.
That means that Luke was never depicted as a great warrior, even though he went into Jabba's palace, kicked everyone's ass with the help of his friends, and saved Han Solo's life, and then went on the Death Star and saved his father by doing the heroic thing. See, this is what's so ridiculous. Luke was a hero because he didn't just kill his father out of anger. He put himself out at risk and sacrificed himself and said, I won't kill my father because I still believe there's good in him. And that act of self-sacrifice and faith is what got his father to change his ways and to become good again.
Yeah. All that's missing from these feminist writers. Yep.
But no, Luke got trapped in a little net by teddy bears, so he wasn't a badass.
Yeah, and he asked if he could reach his lightsaber because, why show off? I mean, just let Han grab it.
When Luke says this,
I think what? I'm gonna walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order?
His
which he literally does in this fucking movie. So
yeah. That's
words are a
foreshadowing.
reaction to raise assumptions.
And also, no one going into this movie thought that's what was going to happen. No one thought this was a fucking anime. Like, I don't know. Have you seen the Jenny Tardosky Star Wars cartoons?
No.
Where, like, I like them, but it's like ridiculous. Like everyone is like Samurai Jack. Like all the Jedi are like super powerful and they can all take on like the armies by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
No one went into Star Wars, into this movie, thinking that's what's going to happen. They thought Luke's going to come back and help save someone from like Kylo Ren or some specific small battle, and then he's going to help like logistically win the war like he did in the fucking first ones.
Right. He's going to be the badass general.
Exactly.
But they had another general idea in mind.
But those lines can also be read as a response to fan expectations. As I mentioned,
also, it's almost always a terrible idea to have a character in a movie that's not a comedy say something specifically against like the meta narrative of like the audience's expectations. Like, you don't want to remind people that they're watching a fucking movie.
Yes.
That's why they only break the fourth wall in comedies.
Yes.
You don't see a scene in Lord of the Rings where Frodo's like, where Frodo goes, I don't know, folks, you think we should trust this Gollum character? He seems kind of sketchy.
He seems a little sketchy to me. I don't know. Maybe we should let him.
Mentioned earlier, it's assumed that Hollywood heroes, especially men, will grow exponentially more powerful over time.
Okay, maybe it's what you were saying. He doesn't understand archetypes. Luke is the archetype of the hero who went off and found the wise master, or I guess the wise master found him. Well, no, he did both because he went off and found Yoda, and he became the wise master. So now you expect the cycle to continue.
Yep, and the male aspect of it has nothing to do with it. There's no reason why the female can't become the wise master, and they do. I mean, there's tons of movies where the female becomes experienced.
Like in Doctor Strange, where they made the literal wise master a female.
Ripley does that over the course of the Alien movies. She becomes the badass. Like in the last Alien movie, she's the badass. She's a total badass because she's had all the experience with the aliens.
Exactly.
Expectation is that once a man has conquered his demons, those demons will stay conquered forever.
That's not a man thing. That's just kind of like storytelling.
Yeah. It's so bad.
We want to see characters conquer their demons. We don't want to see characters conquer their demons and then fall back into despair.
Yeah, that's even an archetype of movies where the person conquers their demons at the end of the second act, but in the third act, they have to have some kind of major challenge. So we have to see that the demons are conquered for good. They usually have a last confrontation with whatever their problem was.
And you know what it's called in a movie when they appear to conquer their demons, but then in the last act they fail because they didn't really conquer their demons? It's called a fucking tragedy.
Yes, totally.
And you know what Star Wars isn't? A tragedy.
Yeah, a space tragedy.
Space tragedy.
Never.
But even though Luke rejected the dark side back in Return of the Jedi,
I'll never turn to the dark side.
His struggle to resist the temptation of absolute power isn't over.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay,
yeah, when was he struggling with absolute power?
This is so bad for so many reasons. First of all, Luke apparently trying to kill Kylo Ren had nothing to do with absolute power. It's because he had a vision that Kylo Ren was going to fuck everything up and become evil. That has nothing to do with maintaining absolute power.
Yeah, he wasn't after power himself. That wasn't his motivation.
People.
Yeah.
The briefest moment of pure instinct. I thought I could stop it.
And he's still scared of the darkness hiding inside himself. Just as...
Also, it's like people had such a problem with this scene because, it's interesting because they did the same thing in The Legend of Korra. You can't take these characters that people saw in movies, so they have this preconceived notion of them, and then say, oh, off screen they underwent this like huge character change and like became shitty. But we're just gonna show you, the end result of that, so you get mad.
That's terrible filmmaking. The whole idea of them having like the scenes in the movie are the character change. The scenes that you're omitting are when nothing happens as far as character change. So omitting scenes where the character change happens is just bad writing. Bad writing all the way.
For shame. But as you said, they don't care about writing. They just care about promoting ideology.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that played into the screenwriting process, where they're saying, this is our agenda. I mean, it's got to be subconscious. They're not talking about that stuff consciously.
Well, it really sounded like the whole movie is just contrived. Like Rian Johnson just wrote a bunch of bullet points of, I want to subvert expectations. Like that was his starting point. I want to subvert expectations, and I'm going to do it by X, Y, Z. Now I just have to figure out how to get to those points. Right. And he just got the laziest way possible.
Subverting expectations, when I try to think of, okay, people are going to think this movie sucks, and I want to subvert expectations. Like, I want this movie to be way better than anybody had ever imagined.
Right.
As he was as a young man back on Dagobah. Although this older version of Luke Skywalker is consistent with his characterization from the original trilogy,
false. Even Mark Hamill was like, yeah, this is completely bullshit.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of interviews saying that.
I think Mark Hamill knows a little bit more about it than Jonathan McIntosh.
Yeah, he fought with Rian Johnson over the character.
Yep. Angry fans still believe that The Last Jedi represents a downgrading of his power and his status.
Because it literally was. Well, again, it's very interesting because he didn't just say status, he said power.
Mm-hmm.
No one, when does anyone talk about Luke being less powerful in this movie?
Yeah.
They never do. So it really shows the conflation of the prestige and the dominance hierarchy.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say it.
I thought you were going to say that.
Status is related to prestige. You don't gain status through dominance. You don't gain it. Nobody likes a bully. Our society is all against bullies. The bully is the bad guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un is the bad guy.
What's that?
Kim Jong-un is the bad guy.
Yes, because he's the bully. He lives dominance. Right. Yeah.
But I didn't see you.
The fan fury is exacerbated by the fact that it's a young, untrained female Jedi.
You've closed yourself off from the Force.
Who challenges this mythic hero on his failures.
I don't remember Rey really challenging him. She's just saying, you should not be an asshole. He's like, fuck you. Like, okay.
Not a good look for you, man. Be nice.
Rey, again, it's like Rey's gender has so little to do with anything. Like, how many times have you seen a movie where like there's some young, egotistical, brash male bravado character who's like, you're like, oh, fuck this guy. Look at this young.
He's the bad guy.
Yeah. Or he's just, even if they're not the bad guy, they're like the asshole who has to like tame their ways and not become egotistical. And that's how they become the hero.
Yeah. It's completely separate from gender in any way, shape, or form.
Of course you have.
Not only does this young woman reprimand the great Luke Skywalker,
Leia sent me here with hope. If she was wrong, she deserves to know why. We all do.
She directly confronts him and inspires him to reconnect with the Force. Later on, Yoda offers guidance too, but
she doesn't even really inspire him to do it. It seems like he just feels guilty about being a fucking bitch.
Right.
So he Okay. I guess I'll go send my Force Ghost over to the salt plant to help everyone instead of just going there in person for no fucking reason. Isn't it weird that his Force Ghost, it took the same amount of time for him to project his Force Ghost to the planet than it took Rey to just physically fly there? Like, why didn't he just go with her?
Bad writing. Because the script said that. That's why he went. That's why it happened.
It subverts expectations. Could you imagine being and you're like, oh, I get to be the wise Jedi, and you read the script for the first movie and you say, oh, I don't have any lines and I'm literally just in the last scene of the movie standing there.
And I got to squirt liquid money all over my face.
And then the second one you say, oh, my character has been completely destroyed and raped and then dies at the end.
Yeah.
For no reason. This is great.
Rey, who opens the door for Luke to overcome his paralyzing self-doubt.
Now, reach out.
So instead of seeing the old Jedi Master teaching Rey how to wield the awesome power of the Force,
I feel something.
Audiences are treated to scenes in which Rey reminds Luke what it means to be a Jedi.
The galaxy may need a legend.
Of course, Rey isn't...
And yet he doesn't... It's not even like... It's not even good feminist propaganda, if it really is, because I'm not convinced. If the idea of the story was Luke's going to be a fucking disaster and Rey's going to save him, which, again, does he not understand how, like, protagonists are supposed to work? Okay, you need your protagonist to, like, go through an arc to become better, to climb the fucking prestige hierarchy. It doesn't make sense to have your fucking protagonist, who's supposed to be, like, not there yet, not a master yet, to go to the master and then save them.
Yeah,
that's the opposite of the arc you want.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense at all. Like, she should be going to him for guidance because he has all the experience, but they're like, oh, well, that can't happen because he's a male and she's a female, and we all know.
But that's not an archetype, Adam. That's a stereotype of masculinity.
Well, why didn't they cook up some female Yoda or something?
Well, they did in the first one. I guess they had the orange lady.
Oh, yeah, they did. They did. Oh, that was so bad. Never mind. Forget. Don't do that again.
No female Yodas.
A more powerful Jedi than...
No, see, that would have been the real trick. She shows up and finds that Luke had actually went through gender transition. But see, here's the thing. Since it's like...
Oh, that would have been good.
Better technology. It's just like an actual, like, different actress. She's like, no, I'm Luke Skywalker. I just had a body transition.
Did you just misgender me?
It's Scarlett Johansson. It's really Luke Skywalker.
Oh, that would have been good. That would have been great. Oh, this is my new body. Don't you know?
What are you, sexist and ageist and transphobic? God.
Luke, and she ends up being wrong about her ability to fix Kylo Ren. But she...
Wait. I gotta see what he says about that. Because she did fuck up there.
Rey isn't a more powerful Jedi than Luke, and she ends up being wrong about her ability to fix Kylo Ren.
Right.
But she does possess something that he's lost.
Isn't that also... See, if I was feminist, I would say this movie is sexist because they're playing into the stereotype that the woman thinks that she can just fix all the men.
Yeah, I was going to say. It sounds like that they're on full blast with that stereotype.
Yeah, Rey is supposed to fix Luke, supposed to fix Kylo Ren. Vice Admiral Holdo is supposed to fix Poe, and what's her name?
They should have made Rey a therapist.
What?
They should have made Rey a therapist. Her character could have just been a therapist.
She's not a Jedi. She's a shrink.
She's a Jedi therapist.
Rey still has hope. She still has conviction. And she still has...
Don't laugh. That would have totally subverted expectations. She's the Jedi therapist.
You see, while Rey was abandoned on that desert planet, she found like an entire book series. She found the entire Audible series of psychology. She's been listening to it for all these years while she was scavenging metal.
That would be great. I know your problem. Pent-up aggression. I know just the fix.
Has clarity of purpose. The idea that a young woman like Rey would have something important to teach an older, mythic male hero like Luke Skywalker
with far more experience
Well, again, it shows he's valuing like the audience's view over the internal mechanisms of the story,
right?
Which you should never do. That's like to him, it's more important that the audience idea is subverted about quote unquote male mythic heroes than it is that you have a fucking female character who goes through an arc that people identify with and can see. This is what's so fucking stupid. You want your characters, you want your heroes to go through the quote unquote hero's journey where they start shitty and then they work their way up to becoming the hero so that people can model their behavior after it. Like you always say, people are always looking for the behavior to model after. That's what's so terrible, stupid about these Mary Sue characters like Rey, because you can't model your behavior after her because she was just born amazing.
But they're good people. We know that they're good people. They just don't have the skills to do a lot with being good people. I think sometimes people make the character arc, they make them bad people that become good people instead of good people that just become skilled and good. Like Luke was a good person in the very beginning.
He was just like he was just a regular guy.
He wanted an adventure. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Rey's a good person, but she began skilled. They started her off skilled.
Right, but it shows exactly what you were saying, where they give so much weight to the ideology over the story, and not understanding that if you wanted to promote the feminist agenda, okay, you could do that with the Star Wars movies and make them not suck.
Yes,
you could have Rey start off as like an untrusting, shitty character because she was abandoned on a planet by herself. So she's completely antisocial, doesn't trust anyone, and is kind of horrible. And she becomes the hero.
Right. Yes.
And then people would say, oh, she's a great character.
Not trusting anyone is a great character arc. Someone who doesn't trust anyone that learns to trust. I mean, that's kind of Han Solo's character arc.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great character arc. But it just makes absolutely no sense that Rey, like, why is she even going to Luke? Like, you would go to him because he's at the top of the prestige hierarchy and he has experience to offer. That's the whole reason you go to him. But then to say, okay, well, why is she even going to him if he doesn't have prestige, if he's not someone she can learn from?
I think what really happened with this movie was that it was so dangerous because it shows that Rian Johnson was putting subverting expectations above everything else. He wasn't looking at this in terms of narrative structure and archetypical structure. He's just like, nope, just going to subvert expectations.
Yeah.
That's why they always tell you in film class, you got to learn the basics before you start breaking the tools. Because if you don't understand the basics, you're going to fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Last Jedi is. It's not understanding the basics and fucking up.
Yeah, I think higher ups kind of spun him astray.
Is erroneously viewed by some male fans as emasculating. It's worth pointing out that angry fan defensiveness isn't necessarily just a reaction to women existing in popular science fiction stories.
I know, I was listening to this yesterday, just shaking my head the whole time.
Like that, if you could just take that sentence out and like that's the male feminist, like encapsulated in one sentence.
He does. He just envisions it as they hate females. Like females can do nothing right, but that's so far from reality. Who doesn't want a strong woman? Who doesn't like a strong woman? Come on.
And look at all, it's funny because you look at all the animes which are chock full of strong women, but the problem is like they're sexy too, so they can't be like considered positive role models by feminists.
Yeah, but I would say that women like those models. They want to be attractive and strong.
Exactly, because who doesn't want to be attractive?
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah, no one.
If women are included alongside male heroes in a way that doesn't overshadow, upstage, or interfere with traditional expressions of masculinity.
Let's get one thing straight. I'm in charge out here. You do everything I say exactly as I say it.
Excuse me?
Just relax.
Then we don't see these same kind.
Okay, does he not understand that in that movie, Chris Pratt saying that line is supposed to be like a bad thing. It's supposed to be like, oh, he's a jerk. It's not supposed to be like, oh yeah, we think he's a strong masculine character now.
Yeah. He's cherry picking all the way through here. Now he's going to make fun of Hulk? That's sacrilege.
Extended temper tantrums from male fans, especially if the female characters in question are cast as young, white, and conventionally attractive.
Who was complaining about Scarlett Johansson in the Avengers movies?
I guess McIntosh is. He's like, oh, I don't like that.
He's making it sound like the nerdy fans were bashing on her. I don't remember that.
Scarlett Johansson is an A-list star. They bring out the Tico haircut with her, and I'll tell you, like, they're going to get the middle finger pretty quick. Like, she's going to be off the project so quickly.
The Last Jedi isn't satisfied with simply including women. It goes much further and puts female characters in positions of institutional power or moral authority
where they act like toxic masculine asshole males.
Where they act like tyrannical.
You know, it's interesting. You could say that Tico knocking into Finn's ship to prevent him from saving everyone, that would be like the Jordan Peterson tyrannical female archetype.
Yes.
Like protecting your loved ones at all cost, even if it's like a danger to them and everyone else.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, totally.
Over male heroes. The movie then has those women leverage that power to challenge and ultimately force change in men's behavior.
Tell me the truth.
Oh my God. So bad. Oh.
Remember that part in the Mary Sue movie where the Mary Sue was able to overpower Luke fucking Skywalker, even though she just learned about the Force like 3 days ago?
Yeah. And it's like not even forcing change for good. Like it's forcing change for bad. Come on.
God, it's baffling.
Like
it's just fucking baffling.
Why fight? They're challenging all the heroes, all the good guys. Why aren't they challenging the male bravado of the bad guys? Like none of that makes any sense to me.
You know, you could have a Star Wars movie where the main here's what you do. If you want a Star Wars movie where the main conflict is all the heroes arguing with each other, that should have been the first new Star Wars movie where it shows why whatever government the rebels created failed.
Mm-hmm.
And the Empire was able to take power again. That's the movie that you have all the good guys fighting each other. You don't have the movie where the rebels are running for their lives away from the Empire. You don't have that be the movie where all the conflict is the good guys all arguing with each other.
Yeah. The Marvel movie is all the good guys arguing with each other. Like that is the arc of the movie, that they can't get along, you know, internal power struggles. And then when they finally work as a team, they succeed. Yeah.
But those aren't about conflicts.
But these movies don't embrace that kind of stuff.
No.
Yeah.
They're not designed to be like that either. You could have that movie, you could have that story where the characters two strong characters have to learn to get along to fight the bad guy. I mean, it's a pretty common theme. And you can have that. You can have that when you have like these little pocket groups of heroes fighting a bad guy. You can't have that when you have militaries facing off against each other.
Yeah. With the internal struggle, you wonder like how they even won.
And that is almost unheard of in a major blockbuster film. In the end, our three male heroes face up to their mistakes and overcome their failures.
When is the opposite ever been heard of? Where's the movie where there's some old, wise female character, and yet the young male upstart comes and knocks her off her perch and shows her how she's lost her way?
I don't know, but I want to see that movie.
Could you imagine if they did like another movie and it's like they go to ask? No, here it is. Here we go. It's Kill Bill 3. It takes place 30 years after the original Kill Bill, where Uma Thurman is like retired, but still, the wise assassin. And some male character is going to her to learn assassin's training. and yet all he does is like tell her about how much she sucks at being an assassin and how shitty she is, and just shows her the real way to do it.
Yeah, that's lame.
And how many people would be outraged at that movie?
No one.
How many people want to see the movies? No one.
Yes.
Poe learns from Leia and Holdo to put aside his desire for heroic short-term gains.
Let's go. No, wait.
And instead consider the bigger picture.
Again, this is part of the problem with the writing being so terrible, is that even if that was the intention, it's not correctly portrayed in the movie, because Poe sees Luke walk out into the field and Poe says, wait a minute, Luke's just trying to buy us time so we could escape. And then Finn's like, what are you talking about? And then Poe says, well, Luke got in here, so that must mean there's a way out the back. So then everyone risked their lives on this plan to go out the back, except Luke's a fucking ghost, so he never went in physically. So if it wasn't for Rey to save everyone at the end, which Luke didn't know about, they all would have died in the fucking cave, following the supposed lesson that Poe supposedly learned from his character arc.
Oh, that's awful. That's so bad. Why? I don't understand why the guy is defending this movie.
Because it's got strong ladies.
Oh, okay. So it's just completely self-serving. He's like, this movie is terrible, but it's supposed to be great because it has strong female characters.
Exactly.
Only through Rose's moral insights that Finn comes to believe in something bigger than himself. And Rey...
Yes, her great moral insights of, let's dick around on Casino World for fucking an hour and a half while our friends are all dying.
Yeah. That's how he learned to become part of something bigger than himself. So it's such a lie. It's just not true.
He succeeds in inspiring Luke to be the best version of himself again.
The best version of himself is not coming to the planet to go help everyone, but instead to send a Force ghost to the planet for no reason, at which point you'll buy a couple minutes of time for people to do what? I guess Luke somehow saw the future using his Jedi powers and knew they were going to save everyone back. So Luke was like, I'll just buy her a couple minutes and then die.
Isn't
like,
it
how is that
lazy that he just phoned it in?
It'd be more helpful if Luke came to the planet and like lived so we could help people in the future.
Yeah, so we could see him as a badass in the next movie. Why don't they just go full feminist and just have him transgender? And then that solves everything.
Now you see, when he comes back as a Force ghost, he'll be a female Force ghost. He's like, I never told anyone how I really felt about myself. And now that I'm a Force ghost, I can express it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, to do the exact thing he mocked her for earlier in the film. Luke does indeed end up walking out with a laser sword.
But see, this is complete bullshit. Because when Luke said that line, he wasn't mocking her. He was mocking the audience. And even McIntosh said that in his own fucking critique. So it makes no fucking sense for him to then go out and do the thing he was mocking the audience for, if it's supposed to be a stupid thing.
Yeah, I don't.
And facing down the whole First Order. Despite what the reactionary conspiracy theorists claim, this is not an agenda of masculine inferiority.
Wait a minute. He just spent this whole fucking video explaining why it literally is about masculine inferiority. And now he's saying it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
What is happening? I'm willing to say it's just garbage writing, but he's the one that said it was a fucking all about, superior femininity. And yet he has the gall to call it a conspiracy theory.
Women in The Last Jedi.
What's going on with that costume?
I know, it's a great look.
What is happening here? Who signed off on anime character Leia?
That's when
you're hold their male counterparts accountable not out of animosity, but because they genuinely care about them.
That's such bullshit.
Me too.
It's because they had some bullshit line about how she's like, "Oh, I really love Poe, even though I treated him like total shit and ruined our plan because I pulled rank on him and didn't tell him our fucking plan. But I really love him. He's like a child."
Does the purple hair lady die in the end? I think she does.
Yeah, she sacrifices herself.
Yeah.
But see, she doesn't. Even at the end where she supposedly shows caring towards Poe, it's in a completely emasculating way.
Mm-hmm.
She and Leia act like he's a child.
Really?
Yes. So it's like total BS.
So she does have animosity towards him.
Even if she doesn't have animosity, she has contempt for him because she's viewing him as a child.
Yeah.
Male heroes are not being diminished or erased in this movie.
False.
Yeah, they are. They're totally being diminished.
Like, no one cares. Honestly, no one gives a shit about Poe or Finn being portrayed in a negative light. They only cared about Luke being portrayed in a negative light.
Yeah.
They could have had They could have had Finn and Poe be the biggest fuck up on the planet, and Luke could have been the wise Jedi everyone wanted, and people would have liked the movie 1,000 times more.
Yeah, they wanted to see that. They wanted to see their old friend after years and years being a success.
Exactly. No one wants to see your old friend after so many years and find out he's become a fucking failure.
Yeah. Oof.
Oof. Oof is right. I just got the image. It's like Rey went back to find Luke, and you find him like still working at the comic book shop that he worked at 30 years.
He's like,
"Oh, Luke, what happened? You were the coolest kid in high school.
You were a Jedi, man. What happened?"
Was it in the prequels? Was it where like Obi? What happened to you, Anakin?
Too much.
You were a Jedi. It's like, oh no, he was saying you're the chosen one. It's like you could just literally have the scene of Obi-Wan screaming, "You are the chosen one," and just replace it with him yelling at Luke in this movie.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of time and effort is devoted to giving men transformative arcs.
The transformative arc of Poe is shut the fuck up, listen and believe, and follow your commanders, even if they're being assholes to you.
Yeah, even if they have bad ideas that you should never listen to.
Right.
The Last Jedi is a story about men...
But she's a woman, so, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Learning to trust women's ideas and decisions.
I know, see, it's like... Yeah. So basically, the transformation is like all the men in this story, they begin with the idea that women cannot be trusted. You should never listen to women or believe women. Women are inferior to us. That's and their character arc is learning to realize, oh, women aren't inferior to us. That's great.
They're superior to us.
Yeah.
They know what.
We should just fall in line.
Yeah, that really makes sense in the Star Wars universe. That's always what people want to see from their fucking Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Oh.
And then becoming better people and better heroes because of it. And while that might be an unexpected message for a Star Wars story, it's a vital lesson that men need to learn if we are to achieve gender equality.
Oh my God.
Thanks for watching. These video essays take a ridiculous amount of time to write, edit, and produce. So if you'd like to see...
Because you have to rewrite entire history in order to do it.
But here's the thing. That video he just made, I could bang that out in like a couple weeks.
Well, because you don't have to pay attention to reality or know anything to do it.
Exactly. But he's acting like he comes out with these like videos like, I don't know, once every few months or something.
Yeah.
Like fuck you.
But he says, he basically said in the very end there that this movie is propaganda for gender equality. He's like, this is the message that we have to learn if we ever want to achieve gender equality. I mean, I'm ready to have the debate about gender equality. It sounds like they want equity. They want us to say, okay, 50% of our senators need to be women and 50% need to be men. Like, that's what they're gunning for, right?
Right. They'll say that's the only way to prove things are truly equal.
Right. I mean, we gender sports, which is so ironic that the gendering of sports is falling apart at the same time that they're asking for the gendering of politics.
That's a good point.
It's baffling to me, but
So you're saying that we need like a male league for Senate and a female league for Senate?
I'm contemplating it. I mean, I'm throwing the idea out there, thinking about it. I know people just they want to say you want the best people in charge, right? You want the leaders to be the best people, and the best people. I don't necessarily know that the best people are in charge.
They're not. Everyone knows the best people are not.
Yeah, politics has this weird way of, well, it's not, since we have the primary system, there's a lot of control over who you're picking from. So if they pick terrible people, then how do you get the best person in charge?
And the party system, because it's not just the prestige of the population at large voting for you. You need the prestige of the people that are sucked into the system with you, who all have, ulterior motives.
I think it's a terrible. My gut tells me it's a terrible idea to enact some law where it's 50% women and like there are gendered seats in parliament or in.
It'd be completely awful.
But I'm questioning maybe my gut is wrong. That's what I'm saying. Like, why do we? The reason why we do it in sports is because you can't have a co-ed football league because none of the women will be playing football, right?
Exactly. But so if you divided Congress that way, wouldn't you be you'd be saying, oh, women can't compete with men in the realm of politics?
Which seems sexist.
Which is sexist.
But that is the feminist position. The sexist one.
I guess that's true.
But at the same time, I mean, people like to be represented by people who feel like they understand where they're coming from. Like a lot of this whole video is a testament to the fact that these people don't understand men or men and storytelling at the same time, I guess.
They don't understand anything. Let's be honest. They understand literally nothing.
It's funny that they're explaining. The whole idea behind this video is to explain the movie through like this is the way that you should conceptualize this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's really saying that the movie succeeded on the level of moving gender equality forward. Like it failed on the aesthetic. It completely failed on the aesthetic, which the people that are the disgruntled
narrative that inspires people.
Right. Yeah. It failed there, but it succeeded on the gender stuff. So he's saying that's why we have to look at this as a good movie.
Well, it's exactly. I think you nailed it. You completely nailed it when you're saying, in art school, you don't care about making good art anymore. You care about pushing in a message, an idea, an ideology.
Yeah, fighting racism. Your art is supposed to fight racism, and we're judging it on whose art fights racism best.
And how toxic of an idea that is. Like, if you want to include elements of that in your art, then go right ahead. But it's and here's what's weird too is like if you want to push your ideology successfully, then you have to make the art good enough that it worms its way into people's hearts.
Yeah, I guess Get Woke, Go Broke is kind of an outcropping of this because this is like people don't want to buy that. People are saying, well, the problem is, I'm going to judge it on aesthetics and I'm going to go see it if it's good.
The problem with the reason all the Get Wokes go broke is because all the emphasis is on getting woke. It's not on making something good that also gets you woke.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, like you could have all these feminist bullshit themes in The Last Jedi. They could have put them all in the movie, and if the movie had just been structured competently and not shitty, then maybe it would have been good, even with all the feminist crap in it.
Yeah. I feel like there was a bunch of SJW stuff in Spider-Verse, and it didn't bother me at all.
You thought there was a bunch of... Like what?
Well, they just like they made Spider-Man black. There was interracial couples, like strong women, all that stuff.
I mean, I guess I could kind of see that where they made Gwen was like super. Spider-Gwen was like super competent, and they had Miles, But it makes sense that Miles is incompetent because he just became Spider-Man.
Well, and they made the straight white man a loser.
Right, they made the other Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The other Peter Parker really shitty.
I don't think it hurt it at all though, because it was a great story. Like they had reasons why he was incompetent. Like if they would have come out and said, you know, Luke Skywalker just got a drug problem. He got addicted to the green milk and like he's been a heroin addict for the last. Then it would make sense. It's like, oh, he fell off the wagon. Okay, I got you.
Right, and you know it's interesting. The Spider-Verse is actually a really good thing to compare the Last Jedi to, because they had Peter Parker, or a version of Peter Parker, who was a total fuck up.
Yes.
And yet it didn't bother people the way Luke being a fuck up bothered people, because they're like, okay, it's this Peter Parker from a different universe.
Yes, exactly.
The movie itself is about all these different Spider-Mans and all being different. So it's not like they're not saying, like if the Spider-Verse movie had been Miles in the future finds the Peter Parker, the one and only Peter Parker, and you find out that he's really a fucking loser and a pathetic shithead, everyone would be pissed off.
They would be, yeah. I think it's kind of amazing how they got around that with excellent storytelling. Right. Yeah.
With excellent storytelling, with showing that there was the Peter Parker in Miles universe was like super competent, and showing that it was from an alternate universe, and having it be more comedic than sad.
But according to McIntosh, just because we're making fun of Rose Tico's haircut, like we're toxically masculine, and like Spider-Verse should just be, we should be as upset about Spider-Verse as we are about Star Wars.
He would say, and also, well, here's another reason why it works in Spider-Verse, is that Miles isn't this is actually a perfect. Spider-Verse is such a perfect comparison to the Star Wars movies, because even though Peter Parker is kind of a fuck up, Miles is a fuck up too, in that he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't become, when he gets his spider powers, he doesn't just become the best Spider-Man ever like Ray does.
Yes. Yeah.
He's to learn, like even like Peter Parker in the Spider-Verse movie, like he's a fuck up mentally, but he's a competent and good Spider-Man physically. So he has to teach Miles how to be Spider-Man physically, where Miles has to kind of like reinvigorate Spider-Man's faith in being a hero again.
Yes.
And they could have done that exact thing with the Star Wars movies if they wanted to.
And they came out first, so they had every opportunity to do the other universes.
Well, I mean, without the other universes, they could have had like Luke, even though I disagree with it and think it's a terrible idea, they could have had like Luke lost his faith but still was powerful. So it's like he's teaching Ray like how to be powerful and use the Force, and Ray's teaching him to like find his faith in the Force again.
Yeah, he could be totally cynical.
They literally had her overpowering Luke after 2 days of lightsaber training.
Ugh, so bad. Yep. This is what happens when you hire screenwriters that hate men.
Or just, I'm not convinced that Rian Johnson's focus was on that. I really think he was just trying to subvert expectations.
Did he write it or just direct it?
I think he did.
Oh, okay.
I'll check, but I'm pretty sure he did.
That's pretty funny.
Shit.
I can't go to all the super chats because I'm assuming you have that little window that popped up.
Yeah, he's the writer and the director. So.
Well, then it's all
he's
his
the only
fault.
with the writing credit.
Yeah, he had other writers. They just didn't get credited. That happens all the time. People don't realize that happens all the time. So how old is this video? McIntosh is still in the game, huh? Wow.
It's like 5 years old, I think. It says that he wrote Brick and Looper too, so it's not even like this was his first movie he wrote or whatever. So, okay. Anyway,
we should do some Poe videos that are just Poes of feminist stuff, because I think we could make this video way funnier.
Not Star Wars Poe, but like satirical Poe.
Yeah. Like take the feminist perspective on this and do like a critique of Star Wars, but just say what they're not actually coming out and saying. Like, the fans are all misogynistic hate mobs that like need to realize that they should be worshiping women on all fours.
We can talk about how we can talk about what I said in the beginning about how this is really sacrificing black men at the altar of white feminism.
That too, yeah, exactly.
Talk about it in our NPR voices.
Make a counter argument to them that's just internally destructive. But they would figure it out too quick. They would know that it was us. We'd have to do some voice modulation on that and use some avatars. What would be a good male feminist avatar for us?
It's just my avatar with like a red hair and glasses. Just use like Caffeine made those like hipster SJW Sitch avatars.
We need your avatar with the open mouth. That
would be the feminist. They have a really big open mouth.
That would be awesome.
Ethan Long for $5 says, Star Wars prequels versus Disney trilogy. Do you prefer incompetence? Or do you prefer incompetence or incompetent and progressive SJW ideology and propaganda?
The question though is the propaganda fueling the incompetence? Because I kind of feel like it is.
It was maybe. I think you can make that argument with the second one. I don't think that's true with the first one. The first one just felt really lazy.
Right. Yeah.
The first one didn't. That. I mean, I guess you could say like they definitely made an effort with Rey, where she like kept pushing Finn's hand away, like, "Oh, I don't need you to lead me by the hand."
Right.
But it just seemed lazy more than it was ideology promoting incompetence. But with the second one, you can definitely say that.
Right.
Zofrats for 20 Donkey Kongs for 20 Donkey Kong says, "Good night, you two. It was fun to watch you live." Thank you very much, Zofrats.
Yeah, thanks.
A-Ray for $10 says, "By the way, Ethan Miller didn't force me to watch all 3 Star Wars movies. I wanted to. I'm into his toxic masculinity."
Nice.
Who's Ethan Miller?
Toxic masculinity is always good.
Yes. EP for $10 says, "The milk scene is a direct call out to the man babies." I like our interpretation a lot better.
Yeah. I always think of toxic masculinity as just male bonding. Like what they perceive as toxic masculinity is just male bonding. I mean, there are places where I would agree, but
right. Well, that's what the problem with all this stuff is that they take something that can be true and then they just go way too far with it.
Yeah.
Radio Plastic for $2 says, "Rey beat him in stick fighting, made Luke bitch lobster."
Yeah.
Luke was definitely not top lobster in this movie, and that's the problem. Everyone wanted Luke to be top lobster, and yet he was a bitch.
And that doesn't make logical sense. It really doesn't.
Doesn't make sense with the character of the movie, and it doesn't make sense with... No one wanted that. Yes. No, actually, that's not true. The only group of people that wanted that were the feminists.
Right.
And that was it. No one else wanted to see Luke being a bitch.
But with 8% of the population actually calling themselves feminists, how can you sell a $200 million movie?
Exactly. No wonder this movie didn't do well in China. You think they really care about all this feminist shit?
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Lieutenant Amazel, Amazel. That was how you say it, right? Amazel? I'm trying.
Amazel.
Amazel. For $5 says, "Oh my God, Jedi therapist would be perfect. Just Jedi mind trick everyone."
Yep, exactly.
It's like they could mind control you into being not a fuck up.
It would subvert expectations. She'd be like a scientist. It'd be great.
Out in the desert of Jakku, she learned a lot about science while scavenging ships.
She could be analyzing everyone too. She could be like, "Finn, you really need to embrace your adventurous side. Tico, you just need a better hairdresser. You'll feel better once you boost your self-confidence."
How dare you? How dare you mock the way she looks? That's total toxic masculinity. You're just proving them right, Adam. What are you doing?
Oh, I know. The comment section in this video is going to prove that we need feminism.
Observer Dude for £5 says, In The Phantom Menace, Jabba fell asleep during the exciting pod race. I wonder if that was George Lucas's subconscious acknowledgement that the movie was so boring and dull.
Yeah.
Probably. Contrast for 5 Aussie bucks says, Aro Raffle, let's not forget classic women in sci-fi like Sarah Connor, Ripley, and Renoa. That's right.
Yeah, there's plenty of strong women in movies. There really are.
Right. And I think more importantly, like Sarah Connor is a good example. She didn't feel like just a man in disguise as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She just felt like a badass person who was not gendered the other.
Have you seen the movie The Contender? The Contender is one of my favorite movies. It's a political movie.
What's it about?
It's amazing. It's about the nomination process of a woman for vice president. The vice president dies, and the president must nominate another vice president, and he's going to nominate a woman. And it's just everyone's losing their shit over him nominating a woman. And it's just, it's like good feminist, a good feminist movie. Definitely.
Right.
It hits all those feminist stuff, but she's like such a complete and total badass. You're like, okay, this woman's great.
Yeah, but you see, this movie was made in the year 2000, so this is before the SJW brand of feminism poisoned everything.
Oh, it was when feminism had already won. Now they've moved on. They've gained equality, and then they moved past that. They're like, okay, now we have to take over. You guys, they switched gears. They were like, okay, we want equal rights, and then it became, well, you guys were in charge for so long. Now we get to be in charge for the.
Yeah, it's our turn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's creating a lot of conflict.
Critters Buggin for 2.79 Canadian says, really high and having a bath right now. Not gay.
Well, that's awesome.
All right. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone there. I wouldn't have thought I was gay. That's right, guys. Whenever you're having a bath and getting high, listen to PSA Sitch and Friended.
Yeah, do it. Get the green milk going.
Peter Hasselstrom for 50 SEKs for 50 sexes says, we're foolish to expect the Holy Scripture of Star Wars to make sense in a literal reading.
Oh, yeah. He is acting as the high priestess of Star Wars here, isn't he?
Well, the high priestess of feminist Star Wars.
Yeah.
Ethan Miller for $5. What?
Just McIntosh. Just
McIntosh?
Problematizing. He's not problematizing Star Wars. He's problematizing the fan reaction to Star Wars.
Exactly. That's even worse. Worse.
I don't, if they're like, the whole idea that people didn't like the movie means you failed. Like, even if you're just out there saying, okay, this is feminist propaganda. Like, if people like the movie, then your feminist propaganda worked.
Exactly. If everyone hated it, well, see, that's the way they look, the way they justify it is, oh, it doesn't matter how good the movie would have been. People would hate it just because it's feminist, ideology.
Right.
Which some people would, but the normies would eat that shit up if it was actually decent.
Oh, hell yeah. Spider-Verse is the perfect example.
Noah Weichert for $5 says, in Star Wars Old Republic canon storylines, there's a lot of badass women characters where the story never feels forced.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. They're like, we're going to pull out the politics here. Put the movie on pause. Let the general walk out.
Like, doesn't that... See, if I was a feminist, I would say, doesn't having the men be incompetent and the women being hyper competent, isn't that sexist? It's like, why can't, like, women can only be competent if the men are all morons?
Yeah.
But
did you see The Edge of Tomorrow?
I love that movie.
You like it? Did you say yes?
You didn't like it?
I loved it. Are you kidding me? But Emily Blunt is just like a complete badass.
True, that's a good point. She was a really strong female character that you don't look at her and be like, oh, she's just a annoying SJW feminist Mary Sue.
Yeah. She's boss and Tom. I almost called him Tom Hanks. Tom Cruise. She's bossing Tom Cruise around. And Tom Cruise starts off as not a soldier.
Right, he's a sniveling coward.
He's a sniveling coward, exactly. But you don't look at that movie and say, like...
Oh, see, that's perfect. That's a perfect example of why his whole critique of this is bullshit.
Totally.
Edge of Tomorrow is literally a sniveling male character, Tom Cruise, who everyone expects him to be the hero and to start off as the Mission Impossible guy. Yep. And yet it's complete subversion of expectations. He's a complete coward and a wimp in the beginning of the movie. And it's a strong female that trains him.
Yep.
No one, I mean, people didn't like that movie, but they didn't like it because it was sci-fi. It had nothing to do with that.
Did that movie not do well? Because that movie is like kind of a masterpiece.
Didn't do well at all.
Really?
Well, here's the thing. I think the people that
maybe
saw
McIntosh
it
is right.
The people that saw it really like it. The people that saw it really liked it. A lot of people just didn't see it.
Right. It didn't do well. Nobody wanted to see it.
Part of the problem, I think, they changed the title. I don't know
if you know. They did. I know.
They changed it to Live, Die, Repeat instead of Edge of Tomorrow. So.
And Edge of Tomorrow was such a terrible name. The graphic novel had the best name ever. And I can't remember what it is now. What is it?
All You Need Is Kill.
All You Need Is Kill. Yes. If they would have named that movie All You Need Is Kill, so good.
That sounds like, I don't know if I like that title, but it sounds too Japanesey. I'm not sure the normies would have liked that.
Really? Oh, I love that title. So good. So we out of super chats. You want to wrap it up?
But there you go, John McIntosh. That's why you're full of shit. Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat. Awesome movie. Strong female protagonist. Subverting expectation. Teaching Tom Cruise how to be a badass. And it's great. So fuck you.
Yeah, we want to see a video essay on it. Stat. Yeah. I know they take I feel like we should listen to them e-begging a little more because it's entertaining.
See more of them? Please consider going over to Patreon and helping to fund my project there. There's also a link to PayPal.
Look at those puppy dog eyes. He's practically saying, "Come on, please."
Doughy though. Look at him.
What's that?
He's so doughy.
He's like, "Help me."
He's like, you know, when you have when you have like the white guy who's like, he's not quite fat, but he's not really skinny. He's just kind of doughy. And you're like, what's up with it?
Yeah. What happened? I want to see a video with the breakup story with him and Nita Sarkeesian. I think it would be I think that would be viral. I think that video would go viral.
He's gonna call her out, say that she's abusive and sleeping her way to power. It turns out to be Gamergate 2.0 with John McIntosh.
Oh, can you imagine? If you went out to the movies and you saw two of them like walking into the movie together, you'd be like, okay, I know where I'm sitting, right behind him. I gotta hear this.
In the description below. In the coming months, I'll be working on a few new video essays, one of them on gun culture, media, and masculinity, and another one on the ways that sexual assault against men is often played for comedy in Hollywood. So until then...
Maybe we'll do that one next week.
Was that the other one we were gonna do? I did a response video to John. Well, I think I just used clips from him in a response video that I did, but so much of this is just rationalizing your position. Like he has this worldview that he's just completely rationalizing.
That's all it is. That's not so much of it is. That's all it is.
Yeah. Don't you feel like you want to understand the world? Don't you feel like? I mean, I feel like I have a good concept of the world that works for me.
Well, here's the problem: is that he wanted to understand the world, and then he was taught this lens, and now now that he can fit everything through the lens, and it makes sense. He says, "Oh, okay, so this lens is right. This lens is correct."
Right.
It's kind of. I disagree with Scott Adams. Take a drink. Who said that a good way of figuring out whether your worldview is correct is whether you can use it to predict things properly.
Yes, I agree with that.
When you have people like McIntosh or anyone, you can ad hoc predict everything. Like they could have predicted Trump winning totally with the feminist worldview. Doesn't mean it's right.
Isn't he trying to predict though why this movie was shitty? Like
Well,
why this movie failed?
He's predicting why people didn't like it, not why it was bad.
Right. Why it failed. Isn't a
Right.
better explanation though just that it was a poorly written movie as opposed to the fans were all misogynist pigs?
Of course. But he has to make it fit his worldview.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Ethan Miller for $5 says, "Who is Ethan Miller? I thought you cared about your supporter Stitch." Oh, you're the Ethan Miller that the other guy was talking about. Wait, now I'm so lost. I'm trying to find that other super chat. Whatever. I'm glad, Ethan, that you made someone else watch Star Wars.
Yes.
So, fuck that guy.
I'm glad, Ethan Miller, that you made me watch Breaking Bad because it was actually very good. So I'm glad everyone forced me to do it.
That's right. We're all together forcing.
I'm part of the
fans to watch
culture now. I'm part of the culture.
And I did see that you said Stitch. Okay, I know you did it on purpose. But you
got to read Stitch. You didn't read the right. It's.
Hey Momo for $10 says, if the title had been "All You Need Is Kill," above Tom Cruise in a mech with a sword, every man with the ability to read would have seen that movie. There you go.
I'm showing 0%. I think our stream might have been lost for a second. So I think you should read the super chat again, just in case we lost it.
Oh, okay, you got kind of cut out, so I don't know. But anyway, Hey Momo for $10 says, if the title had been "All You Need Is Kill," above Tom Cruise in a mech with a sword, every man with the ability to read would have seen that movie.
Hell yeah. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. They're like, Edge of Tomorrow. What is this, a philosophy movie? Forget this. I'm out of here. Yeah, exactly.
Or Groundhog's Day Part 2.
Yeah.
I would have seen that with a mech suit. So anyway, I think we're about to wrap it up because Adam sounds like he's dying slowly.
What do you mean? I'm doing pretty
good.
good.
So tired. You're like, oh, I need food. Sitch, I need food for my belly. Oh, feed me.
Yeah, I did get up super late today.
Feminist milk.
Yeah, this McIntosh takes it out of you. He really does.
Also, you keep cutting out, so.
Yeah. My internet's going in and out, so. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Wait. We got one more super chat. A-Ray for $5 says, I hope you know Ethan is laughing his ass off right now. Thanks, guys. Heart. I'm glad that Ethan is laughing his ass off. And thank you, and thank everyone for your generous super chats.
Thank you all so much for your continued support.
Thank you for your continued support.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
I hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday. Until the next time. Bye-bye.